Buddy, we're live Thursday night forum. It is Stan. It is I. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you um, chime in if you've got comments. We'll wait for a few people to get the notification, Stan, and join us. For the Thursday night forum. But how you been?
Yeah, not bad. The weather over here in Vancouver at this time of year is really miserable. It's really sort of like you wake up and it's like dark and it's raining and it's windy.
Wet. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like Seattle a little bit?
It just kind of reminds me a little bit of Scotland, Edinburgh, or even Amsterdam. It's very wet this time of year. It rained for like 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
And
we had some.
Might stop for a little bit, but then it will come back. It's just
Yeah. We had a little snow the last few days, and we're going to get some rain now. Tonight into tomorrow. So, but I suppose that's what you expect, right? Coming up into a week from Christmas now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna, there's other parts of Canada that have got getting really bad snow at this time, and I'm sure we'll get some snow very soon.
Yeah. All right. So, what we're gonna cast our minds back to Saturday in the Wolverhampton game, and the Arsenal fans might feel like it's snowing in on them. I have to be fair though and candid. It was not not one of our shining lights of the season, Stan. It was not a performance that you're gonna go back in May and say, "Oh, that was a great game." But you might think, "Well, 3 points, a handy 3 points to have in the back pocket, baby."
Yeah, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. Shout out to Misfit, who's joined the stream. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
There was part of me that when the final whistle went, I thought to myself, and I kind of tweeted, and I'm paraphrasing that. I've seen teams win the league, and during that season, they've had shit the bed performances. And that today, against Wolves, was definitely a shit your bed performance by us. But we somehow miraculously managed to get back on the coach or get out of the stadium with 3 points.
Yeah.
But the other flip side to that is that shouldn't be a pat on the back. It shouldn't be like, yeah, we got 3 points. Oh. No, there are shit your bed performances, and then there are fucking hell, like you got to throw the mattress away. No dry cleaning's getting them stains out, and that's what happened to us at Wolves. That was a terrible performance. That's one of them performances where a bit large. It's one of them performances where you hope that. I mean, it seemed at the end of the match that, for example, Declan Rice looked very perturbed. Is one way of putting it. Pissed off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, and that's what you want. You don't want that slap in the back and going, "Oh, we got away with that one. We got 3 points. Yeah, we're still top of the league." No, you want to be like, "We just shit the bed, man." Really badly against a team that can barely get anything out of this season. How is that? You know what I mean? We won't get away with that against an Everton. That's what they should be thinking. We need to improve on that. That's not just one of those, So, you can have bad performances and win the league. That was quite an alarming performance.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if put it this way, right? If Arsenal was a cat, they've just used up one of their 9 lives. One of those 9 lives is just gone. That's it. They're down to 8 now.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you're going to win the league, you're gonna lose no more than 4 games, or no more than 4 or 5 games in the season. If you're going to win the league, you're going to draw no more than 3 or 4 games. So that would make up your 9 lives in the season. You draw or lose a game, that would be one of your lives lost. Well, and you can have a scare like that as well. We certainly had a scare. There's a lot to unpack, and we can sort of do it slowly tonight. You touched on Declan Rice being irritated, annoyed, and everyone picked up on sort of him leaving, not storming off the field, but leaving the field in a kind of a.
He was annoyed, and I would prefer, after the back of that performance, as I say, I would prefer to see that reaction, that self-awareness, rather than just be like, yeah, hugging and
Yeah.
off we go. We've got 3 points. Right, off we jog. Do you know what I mean? Let's go and get a Lucozade. Love it. No, I want that self-awareness. Like, fuck, we really like got out of jail there. That's too
Yeah.
close to the bone. That's too close to the bone. And it wasn't because the other side were better than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I warned the Manchester United fan earlier in that week that Wolves they were gonna pick up a win somewhere along the line. I thought they'd beat Man United. Man United accounted for them handily at 4-1. I think they beat them. So coming into the game, I was quietly confident Arsenal would do something similar. If Man United can beat Wolves 4-1, why can't we? But it didn't turn out that way.
No, but what I think is going to happen now, moving forward, is that nearly every other game now that we're going to play is going to be a similar tactic. Because, if you're a manager and you're looking at the schedule and you've got Arsenal coming up and you're thinking to yourself, how can I try and get something out of this?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look at the Wolves and think, well, hold on a minute there. This could be something. If I just tweak that a little bit and I've got maybe better players, maybe we can maybe get something from here. So we're going to have to understand that tactically as well, because this is what we're going to be facing now for a while. Guarantee you. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Right? In a world of videos and replays and being able to watch anything you want anywhere, anytime, if you're an opposition manager and Arsenal, you've got Arsenal coming up within your next half a dozen games, and you want to get something out of it, maybe even a draw, right? Depending on where you are on the table. There's a blueprint right there.
This can't be anything.
It almost work for Wolves. It might work for an Everton.
This has but we've been facing this for the last 2 or 3 seasons. We've been a good team for two or three seasons. We've been runners up for a couple of seasons, if not 3. Right. It's nothing new to us. We should be able to deal with this. We should be able to overcome this. I feel the performance was one of those of when players go through the motions and they just think, oh well, somebody's going to turn up today. It's not going to be me, but one of the players is going to turn up and score 2 goals and win the game for us. But Bukayo Saka is going to turn in a shift and win the game for us, which turned out to happen. I just thought it was one of those insipid performances that nobody really played well in. Want to give a shout out to a few of the people who are in the house while you're thinking on that, Stan. Michael is in the house as well. Stephen was here. And Stephen, Michael said, I watched the video and the topic was, is Eze a good signing? Is he that good? I've been quite impressed. I have been quite impressed with Eze. At the beginning of the season, he's gone through a quiet spell maybe since that Tottenham game. Stephen just had hernia surgery, so watching from my hospital bed tonight.
Oh.
You're a much needed diversion. Thank you, Stephen. I hope you're feeling better, mate.
Yeah, I'm feeling better, man.
And hopefully a little bit of Arsenal talk can take your mind off any kind of swelling, any kind of pain that you're going through right now. Michael says...
it depends on what we've got to say. It might not be too complimentary.
Well, maybe we shouldn't make him laugh too much as well. You know what I mean? That might not be very, very comfortable either. So no laughing, no crying, Stephen, okay? Thanks, laid up for 4 weeks, which sucks, but oh well. Well, 4 weeks of Arsenal. What's that going to do to you? Is Arteta capable of winning trophies? That will be decided this season, I believe. Stan in a Palace kit. No. AFC Reds. Come on, ready? All right, Stan, unpack all of that.
Yeah, as I say, my main thing with that game is that the players looked like they realised how close to the bone that is. But I mean, one of the things coming into this season, and one of the reasons why, if you might remember, a few shows ago, I said this is like the first time at this part of the season. It was quite early in the season. I said that under the tenor of Mikel Arteta, I actually feel more optimistic that we can actually go ahead and win maybe one of the big ones this season. And my reason for that was because I felt that the squad was the right size now to handle going forward. I've always felt that no matter how good we may look, at some point, having a smaller squad and, playing a Champions League game and you're looking at the bench and there's like those kids on there that are never going to come on. That's all we've got. Cabia, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought to myself, there's no way. But at the beginning of this season and what we've brought in and the size of the squad, it made me more optimistic of how we would get on this season. But again, now, look where we are. When it comes to the injuries and what we've got missing, it just seems to be one setback after another setback. Big Gabriel goes out, Megalegs goes out. Then we lose Saliba, and they're not even really sure what the problem is with that injury, apparently. And then we get a player like Ben White who comes in and shows quality. Comes in immediately, shows quality, but then another injury. We've already got a player like Yuri and Timber, who is not really that long away from having a big injury who was out for a season. And, you want to take care of him. We're now having to really risk him. Mosquera, another one, he came in to bolster the squad and looked like, he could have a game, was promising, out. We're having to put Norgard into the defence. And it was only that recently that we were saying, like, why isn't Norgard getting any games? But it's so bad that he's playing the player that he doesn't want to play out of position. I did one when I got it. It was a birthday present from the missus.
Yeah.
It was a birthday present from the missus. And she brought it in while I was on air. And I said, shall I unbox it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's like a new training shirt. It's a new one. Because she came in and says, which one of these do you like? She showed me some pictures. I went, that one's all right. And then she went and got it. It's kind of a bit of a bruised banana style to it.
Yeah.
It has it similar. It reminds me of that, being Adidas as well. But it's more of a top that I'll probably wear it on holiday, hot locations or whatever. A pair of pair of cargo shorts or something.
Yeah.
No, a pair of the actual shorts and the socks. No, I'm joking. Walking around on the beach with the full kit on.
So, in the green room, Stan and I were talking about certain things, and we maybe think alike, Stan. But we were talking about this topic, and this is nothing against any of you in the chat box, because, as Michael says, we've been in this position the last 3 seasons, so you're going to get deja vu feelings. So I don't think any of our chat box is of the ilk of people that we were talking about, Stan. And what I was talking about was basically Arsenal fans going, "Oh, here we go again. Man City have started to play really, really well, and woe is us, and we should just pack it in." I think Rids is just being factual here. If we're not careful, we might be third by next week. But there is a section of fans, Stan, that are like, let's just pack it in now. That's it. It's all over, Man City. And they're even saying some stuff like we should throw the Crystal Palace game because we don't want to get involved in a 2-legged semi-final with Chelsea and then have to face Man City in the final.
Well, I think, isn't it, the 3 out of the last 4 seasons we've been top of the league at Christmas,
right?
But we haven't won it, right? So I can understand fans, like you used the words deja vu. What does that actually mean? Here we go again. Or haven't I seen this before? I've just seen this, right? So we've seen us have seasons where we've got to Christmas and been top of the league, and we've seen us have some fantastic games during that time. Maybe more draws or whatever, but it looks promising. And then what happens? You get overtaken and overrun, and then before you know where you are, there's a big arse in front of you, and it's Haaland, it's Man City. And you're like, how did they get there? So I could understand that. The nervousness. I can understand the nervousness because it's now only a 2 point lead,
Point. Mhm.
right? And the maximum points you get for a win is 3 points.
Yeah.
So it only takes us to lose one and them to win one, and then the lay of the land changes, right? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the lay of the land changes, and it's going to be interesting to see if these players have learned to handle that pressure, because they've
Yeah.
had it. This is deja vu for a lot of them as well, and the manager. Have they learned the lessons from old? But
It's
for me, it's just so bad, so unlucky that we've really had a good transfer window and made a lot, and strengthened our squad. And for some reason, yet again, we find ourselves down to the bare bones. And I think that the catalyst of this Arsenal team is the defence. There's 3 areas to a team, right? Taking out the goalkeeper, but you've got defence, midfield, and attack. And sometimes certain teams, they will excel in a certain place, which really is the blueprint of how that team plays. And I think at the moment for Arsenal, our blueprint is that we're a top defence. To score a goal against us, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, right? We have a very good defensive reputation, and at the moment, that's in tatters, as in the people that make up that reputation. So the thing that what I'm saying is that the thing that we're strongest in, now we're vulnerable because we're having to do things like put in makeshift people like Nordgaard. So I understand that if you can look at that, why some supporters and some fans, and even myself a little bit, are feeling, well, as I said earlier about feeling optimistic. And I said that a few shows back, and I was like, you know what? This is the first time that I've actually felt optimistic this early in the season under Mikel Arteta. And I said the main reason is because we have more meat on the bone. There's more for us to choose from if we get injuries.
Yeah.
Now, only a month later, I'm less optimistic. I'm less optimistic because a lot of that meat on the bone ain't there anymore. And I've just said, right, everyone was looking forward to Kai Havertz coming back. And apparently he wasn't that far off when it was the Tottenham game, which was the day after my birthday, 23rd of November. And now we're hearing today that he's had a setback, which is why we've never seen him on the bench. Because have you not been looking for him on the bench? Because we heard he was like just, touching distance away. And I've been looking for him on the bench. He hasn't been there. They've not said nothing. But it's now come out today that he's had a setback and he's not going to be back until the middle or the end of January.
Yeah.
That's another month, basically. Yeah. That's another month, right? So it makes me less optimistic because the thing that made me optimistic, the bigger squad or better players, it's down to the bare bones again, which has always killed us. It's always killed us, right? Having to rely on some players because we ain't got no one else. We're supposed to be past that, but the unlucky, bitch run that we've had with injuries, so I am feeling a little bit more pessimistic for those reasons.
Yeah, the meat on the bone was the points advantage we had over other teams, and the loss to Aston Villa cut into that points advantage that we had over other teams. The meat on the bone was the diversity of the squad, and the overall quality of the squad had been raised through Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta's dealings in the summer. And as you referenced, then the main part of our team is defensively. And whilst we had 7 or 8 very, very good candidates to fill those spots, now we're down to 4 or 5 players to fill 4 spots across the back 4.
And one of my biggest fears is that we're only a Zubimendi or Declan Rice catastrophe, moment away. One of them, because they have looked top. Martin Zubimendi the other day looked knackered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I worry that if one of those players goes down, then it really could be curtains, right?
Yeah.
So
Steven said, Michael, I would like to blame it on the last game, but that should have given me a heart attack. So he just got the hernia surgery done and not had the heart attack. We were all feeling it. We were. Um, there we go. Misfit, I would even say Gabriel um, to injury as well. They're talking about how. Do you think there's something about the Arsenal training regime, Stan, that's bringing some of these injuries into the camp?
well, I consider that, but Declan Rice came out the other week, innit, and said we've only done 20 minutes this week.
Yeah.
So that totally kicks that into touch.
There's a lot of games.
They're not sort of like driving in every morning and going straight out onto a pitch, and they're just constantly running around. There's more to it than that. There's probably some gym work. There's probably a lot of classroom work, right? A lot of watching stuff, a lot of
Tactical.
That kind of stuff. Declan Rice said we've only had 20 minutes. I was quite surprised at that. I was like, really? Okay, is that it? Okay, I thought it was. You know what I mean? I thought it was more than that. But what do I know? I don't fucking play football.
And the other thing is, the other thing I was gonna say, Stan, that Michael has here as well. The injuries could come back, and with all of the injuries that we've had, and we've been hampered in the last 4 or 5 weeks. We could get players back. Okay, we've heard Havertz is a setback a little bit, but Madueke could come back. Maybe Mosquera could come back. Saliba could come back. And that could be the flip side.
Well, we've just got Gabriel Jesus back. But more so, as I mentioned, the players that I think that we really are missing, the strongest part of our game, Arsenal is, our stamp is about our defence. And that's where we're missing a lot. And you look at I look at players like Timber and Calafiori, and these are players that need to be taken care of, right? They're not robust centre backs that are going to play, 47 out of 50 games, all competitions kind of thing. No, they're not built for that. So you have to take care of it. But there's no one else to give respite at the minute. The people that were supposed to be given respite, they're buckled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to look at someone like Nketiah. He's only recently just come back himself. Mosquera's buckled. Ben White's buckled now. Saliba, Gabriel Megalegs. That's quite a for a team that's known for the defensive part of their game. Big losses there. Big losses.
Yeah. Rid says Michael, for Arteta to get sacked, things would have to go really downhill, like falling out of the top 4. Plus side, we have a lot of games coming up, and we get an idea of where we
Liverpool's
are.
fallen out. Liverpool's fallen out of the top 4, and they've spent almost £500 million in the last window.
Yeah.
Slot doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
And Rids is here for a little bit as well. Thanks for being here, Rudy. I know it's getting late over there in the UK. Appreciate all of you tuning in live, and those who will tomorrow and the next day. The next 3 games are Everton, Bournemouth, and Villa. The results we got last season from them. We drew, I think, with Everton and lost to Bournemouth last season. I think we beat Villa twice last season.
Did you see the Bournemouth Man United game the other night? It was 4-4.
I saw the result, 4-4.
Quite,
it's good game. Stan, do you think it's crucial this team wins the League Cup this season? So
I think it's crucial that this season we win something.
Yeah.
We're at this stage now where, we've only had that first cup in the first season under Mikel Arteta. And I don't care if not all of them are his players. He was still the manager. That's like saying that you can't count Arne Slot's last season because he'd done it with Klopp's team. And he put one player in, right, in Chiesa, but no one says nothing. So what I'm saying is, now the money that we've spent, the turnover that we've had, the tactics that have been imparted, we need to have some sort of a payoff For me, I think if it was just the League Cup, it's still a little bit like, you know, we would like something bigger, but I wouldn't sneeze at it. It gives us a little, it gives us a little bit of leeway, you know. So I think it is, guarantee you, right? If we just win the League Cup, other clubs will try to bitch us out about it. No doubt. The pundits on TalkSport and all of that, they'll be like, that'll be a problem. Oh, you know, all this time and spent all this money, they've only won the fucking League Cup. Oh,
Yeah.
you know. Let alone if we don't win anything, it'll be even amplified, right? Because that's, you know, this is how
they'll say all of that. Yeah,
they love it.
they'll
Right?
say all of that, Stan, and then they'll be like,
they love it. And then if we win the FA Cup, if we win the FA Cup, they'll be like, well, Arsenal always win the FA Cup. They've won 14. So
yeah, but
we cannot please anybody. With that,
No.
you know, the only way to shut people up is to win the league or the Champions League. That's the only way. That is the only way. And if we don't win one of those this season, we're just going to have to like take it. But what I'm saying is, if we don't win, you know, after that we've got two other bites of the apple, the FA Cup and the League Cup. You know, at least that gives us a little bit of, you know, as fans anyway. I like an FA Cup win. I'll take a League Cup win, but I want more. Don't get me wrong. I don't just want to take it, but you know, if we win, if we blank.
what the pundits when they say that, what they would overlook, Stan, is Man City are there, Chelsea are there, Newcastle are there. You know, they're all waiting for us to come into the semi-final now. If we're good enough to beat Crystal Palace, which is, you know, not a given now in a quarterfinal.
And they've all looked at Wolves, probably. They're doing what you've done. They've looked at the fixtures coming up and they've gone, oh, Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I thought, right. And now I'm guaranteed the coaching staffs are thinking, right, what can we do? And did you see that Wolves game? I've got the video. Let's watch that Wolves video again. Guarantee you. That's going to be considered a blueprint.
Michael said, I thought Norgard looked really solid, even though
right back.
He played in defense, but as another club captain, I do like to see him. I do like to see him. Yeah, listen, Stan and I have been talking about Christian Norgard as you know, a very, very solid acquisition in the summer. A player, as you know, as you just said there, Michael, captain. He was already a captain of another club in Brentford.
One of us is frozen. Was it me or was it you?
It's you.
Okay.
But you look okay right now. Norgard, captain of Brentford. So we were talking about, we were talking about Norgard. Why hasn't he been around? Why hasn't he seen any minutes this season?
Well,
And
he's definitely, you know, we've seen midfielders getting run into the ground and Norgard just being sat on the bench. And I thought to myself, is this guy like in an emergency break glass player? And basically that's what's happened. He had to play in the defence.
yeah,
That's where we are with defence at the moment. We had to put him in there. So, you know, I do think that because of where we are injury-wise, he's surely going to get more minutes somewhere. As I was just talking about Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. You know, they can't go on forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just can't.
It wouldn't have surprised me.
Norgard could maybe help in that respect.
Well, it wouldn't have surprised me if Mikel Arteta thought I'd put Declan Rice in the back four. You know? But I'm glad that he picked Norgard to do that. Especially in, I think it was the Champions League game against Club Brugge that he played back there. He's got the experience. He's
the otherwise of the thing that to do what you just said, like put Declan Rice in the back four. Not saying that he couldn't play there, but where you had one problem, which was who you're going to put in there, you've now created the second one because now you've lost whatever it is that Declan Rice gives you. Right? So for one problem, you've created two.
But it wouldn't have put me. It wouldn't. I wouldn't have put it past Mikel Arteta to even think about doing that.
No,
Or
not at
doing
all. No, oh
You
no,
know,
no. I
he's done
definitely
it
agree with
before.
you. You know that's right up Mikel Arteta's Strasser. You know, I
So
mean, definitely. He was probably up all night and couldn't sleep. He's rolling around, and his missus is like, "Mikel, what's the problem?" He was like, I'm
right.
thinking of putting Declan in the back four, and his missus was like, "Do me a favor."
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
Don't you do it, Mikel.
I'm
You
going to
know.
put the kettle on, make us a herbal tea, and I'm going to give you 10 reasons why that's a bad idea.
Christian Norgard, he's got a lot of experience playing in the Premier League, so he's
Captain,
well able to handle those situations. Captain of Brentford, I've had no issues with him playing in that emergency break glass situation in the back four, but you would just like to see him get some minutes in midfield as well, Stan.
yeah, you don't want to see that happening for a prolonged period of time, because at some point it's going to hurt you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
just gonna hurt you. Like that time when we put Xhaka. Do you remember we put Xhaka in at left back,
yes.
and he had a really
I
good
think-
game.
yeah.
He had a really good game, right? The first one, and everyone was like, "Yeah, man, this is the way forward." You know what I mean? Xhaka at left back, and he played the next game at left back, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was hideous. It was hideous. So, you know, yeah, non-negotiables.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to touch on the game a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about in this game, as we mentioned. Um, it just seemed to me like we were going through emotions, and each player was expecting something to happen, but they weren't making it happen themselves. So I'll go through the team lineup as it was picked, and kind of a what do you call it? A makeshift back four.
Yeah,
That's kind of the term, right?
yeah.
You had Ben White playing right back. You had Timber, who's usually Ben White's competition, playing left back, and in between, I think Saliba did play, and Hincapi was his partner in the middle. Um, a little bit disturbing. Gabriel Magalhaes has been out a long time. David Raya between the sticks, and then we had Zubimendi, Rice, and Eze as your creative midfielder.
That's not a bad back four, by the way. Like
Not
the
a
one
bad back four.
It's not
White,
a bad back four.
White, Saliba, Hincapi, Timber.
That's not a bad back four at all. But now one of those is not available, right?
Who's the White? Is
Ben
it?
White. He's no
Yeah,
longer-
Ben White's
he's not
gone in
available,
for surgery.
right? So, but that's not a bad back four, and yeah,
And then up front, you got Saka, Gyökeres, and Martinelli. So we'll get to.
what is the deal with Trossard? Has he injured or he's on the bench, isn't he? Why is he not starting?
Trossard was on the
Need a
bench.
rest? Is he knackered? What is it?
When he scored against Aston Villa, he aggravated something a little bit later in that game. When he, we thought we'd rescue the point there with Trossard.
Was he on the bench?
Trossard was on the bench. He came on as a substitute.
Okay, yes, of course he did. That's right, and almost
Against Aston Villa.
Yes,
scored.
I remember now. Okay.
And then I was like, it's not usually a good thing when you substitute to substitute.
No.
It happened to Abue. It happened to a few Arsenal players.
Yeah, but
Generally,
but with Abue, it wasn't because of an injury worry.
No,
It was to save Emmanuel Abue from himself. That's why Wenger substituted. Wenger substituted him. He almost basically said that he was basically saving him from himself.
But I see it as a huge. I kind of see it as an insult. If you're on as a sub, you should be seeing the game out then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're the manager and you want to win that game and it's vital, and this guy is making it worse instead of better, and you've got another option, you've got a duty to the owner of the club. You know what I'm saying? That's your job, right? That's your job. But to say that you're saving the player from himself, I was like, fuck. I was like, rah, man. That's like
hardcore. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, so the back four, makeshift back four. What? Not a whole lot to talk about. I mean,
Really?
we go right through the whole game. Halftime, we get in 0-0. The crowd's a little bit irritated. You can feel the tension in the crowd stand a little bit, and then the game goes on till about the 70th minute, and then we get the first own goal of from the goalkeeper. And if you want to say set piece FC, great, but it is an accurate um, corner from Bukayo Saka
Very, yeah, very.
that
Caused a lot of problems.
it caused a lot of problems for the goalkeeper. Maybe he gets his
Who's that
finger
player that scores goals from corners? Literally, he takes the corner and gets it. He done it again recently. Who is it again?
What?
Someone in the
What?
chat box tell me. He takes the
What?
corners and scores in the Premier League, and he done one recently. I was watching Match of the Day, and he done another one, and he's done quite a few. He has
He
quite a
scores
high
direct.
percentage. Yeah, from a corner kick.
Okay.
I mean, who is it? Someone's going to tell me in the chat box. His name is slipping my mind. But he done it again. I was watching Match of the Day quite recently. I was like, that guy, man. I mean, that's what
In
you
the
want.
Premier League.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Wow.
Someone that's got that in their bag, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can arc a ball over the goalkeeper's outreached arms, and
From the
into
corner
that.
flag.
What?
From the corner flag. I mean,
Answers
Wow.
on a postcard. Answers on a postcard. The Blue
yeah,
Peter.
bugging me.
But yeah, you have to. I mean, the relief. I had a sense of relief when the goal went in. 70 minutes. You're thinking there's not too many more
Okay.
chances we're going to get here. You know.
Yeah, it's Douglas Luiz. It must have been the Champions League I was watching. He plays for Bayern Munich now, right?
Michael said Douglas Luiz. He's
Douglas,
with
what team does
Juventus
he
now,
play for?
right? He's with Juve.
Is he with Juve? He might have been
I believe-
Champions League. I think he must have been.
I believe so.
He used to play in the Premier League. But whoever it was just like, they do it a lot. You're like, fuck. But anyway, you were saying, yeah, good corner from Bukayo Saka. You know, he's a top
Yeah.
player, right? He's supposed to do things like that.
Yeah, he's. We drew Villa at home last season. Yes, that's right. We were 2-0 up, came back to 2-2. Aston Villa have been a tough team for us over the years.
Yeah.
For me, they need to change their style to get Gyökeres more involved. Playing to his strengths would help a lot. The slow style has killed him. We will. I feel like we're going to go into a Gyökeres discussion as well as part of the show.
I don't see how we can leave this podcast without discussing probably the person that's being discussed the most football-wise in the football world of Twitter at the moment.
Well, go on then. Let's do it.
Do
You
wanna do
never
it
know
now?
what might happen.
Let's
Alonso
do the
might
game
happen.
first, and then we do it.
Go
Let's do
through
the game. We almost finished, right? There's not
Yeah,
much,
I mean,
there's not much to it, and then we'll go to individuals because I'm sure we want to talk about Eza and Odegaard as well.
right. If we only win the League Cup, it would be open season on Arsenal. Yes. Even though Stephen, even though Man City would be involved, Chelsea would be involved, and Newcastle would be involved. Three of the top teams in England. But the pundits would go in two-footed on us. That's for sure. I'm a big fan of Odegaard. I believed we missed him. I just hope he shows up.
Oh yeah, just do yourselves. If that happens, just do yourselves a favour. Log out of social media for a few weeks, and just do yourselves a favour because it will. They love, come on, they love it.
Please,
Don't they?
buddy.
They love it. They love it. We
Thanks
all know
for
that
being
by
there.
now. Right? When it's Arsenal, it's magnified. We're the team you love to hate.
Maybe Rady's going to stay with us for a little bit.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like if this is wrestling, we're like a baby face. I think. We're a baby face. For some reason, we get heat like heels.
Yeah. I think Rady's going to stay with us.
Okay.
He's staying up to watch the cricket in Australia. He's off work this week as well, so he's having some of those roses, chocolates, or an assortment somewhere. 'Tis the season and all that. You know what I mean? I think Jesus looked lightweight physically coming back. I thought Jesus looked a little bit quite active, quite busy in the last couple of times he's come on. Does Odegaard slow down our attacking play? Hmm. Um, we can go. We can go talk about Odegaard as well. Non-negotiable, Stan, said Michael. Rids, it's not Odegaard that slows down. It's Arteta's
I'll be right
style.
back. Let's go to the toilet.
Yeah, in one game
Right
this
back.
season, I counted 18 passes to get the ball over the center line, and we probably turned it over. Listen, as Arteta has Stephen, you're probably onto something. Mikel Arteta has tweaked the way we play. Um, I don't know why, because we were well. Maybe I do know why, because we were cavalier. We were a cavalier team a couple of seasons ago when we beat Liverpool 3-2 at home. Saka and Martinelli running riot over everybody. Well, Mikel Arteta probably realized that we needed to be a little bit more circumspect in front of goal, a little bit more defensively strong. Um, but I think Odegaard could inject some pace into the game as well. There's times when Martin Odegaard slows it down. I don't know if it's specifically Arteta's direction that he's doing that. Rid said, out of possession, we've been way below par the last few games. The last time I think we did something good out of possession was up at Sunderland when Declan Rice stole the ball from, I think, Granit Xhaka in midfield, and Bukayo Saka scored the equaliser. Trossard would score what we thought would be the leading goal, and then one of the goals against us, one of the late goals against us at Sunderland, cost us 2 points as well. There's been a number of, and I think every team goes through it. You don't want to see it; it's sloppy, but a number of teams have conceded late goals as well. We've just gone through a period where we have conceded more late goals than we really, really would want to, and it's hurt us. Hurt us against Sunderland. I think it hurt us, absolutely hurt us against Aston Villa, and there was probably another instance. Another late goal was actually last Saturday, and we'll talk about that one in a minute as well. When Stan when Stan comes back, but yeah, I think Declan Rice's irritation is that he's the only one that's grafting, or he feels he's the only one that's grafting in the team. There are certain roles everyone has in the team, and Declan Rice's role is to graft, win the ball back, and turn us in quick transition going forward. Zubimendi's role is to keep the ball available, moving, and trying to be the heartbeat of the team. So White was looking great, Michael. He always looks a little bit knackered running down the right hand side though as well, and maybe he is feeling it, and that's why he picked up that injury. Um, what's there to talk about? We needed the worst team in the league, and possibly Premier League history to score our goals for us. We were shockingly bad everywhere on the pitch. It was a dour performance, and even after 5 or 6 days, you could probably feel, oh well, wasn't as bad. But we have to cast our minds back to that performance. It was shocking performance.
But you got to be fair though. There's own goals and there's own goals. The own goals were forced errors. Is maybe a phrase I would say. It wasn't like a centre back just turned around and blasted it into the. You know what I mean? Blasted it into his own goal. It was like fucking hell. What's up with him?
My wife.
You know what I mean? They were like
My wife.
they were forced. You have to say, for example, with that second goal, Gabriel Jesus forced that by being where he was and going for that ball.
Exactly.
He forced that. And even when, admit it, right? When you saw it in the quick play, it looked like he scored it.
I thought it was him.
I noticed straight away that when he was running over and the players were coming, because everyone thought he scored, and the players were coming to celebrate, you could see he was saying, and I was like, why does he look so, why is he not, but and I quite like that from him, that he was going like, no, I didn't actually score that. But,
Yeah.
you know, he had a lot to do with it, and it probably doesn't happen if he's not making that action.
Yeah, the commentator says that, you know, he forced the defender maybe not to have the correct body position to be able to get that ball cleared. So the defender had to reach for it, you know, in order to get there before him. Um, yeah, we were shockingly bad on the field. All right, so we're 1-0 up. Let's do that. Let's do it right first, right? We'll do it the right way. 1-0 up, Stan. And uh, are you you're probably feeling the same way I'm feeling, you know, anxious because in those last few minutes before they equalized, we were conceding a lot of territorial possession. We were conceding a lot of possession ourselves. You want to have the ball at your own feet. You want to be able to keep possession for large periods of the last 10 minutes of that game. And we just couldn't do it for some reason.
I'm literally watching it and thinking, and as I'm watching it, the voice in my head is going, this team is supposed to be like the worst team, for fuck's sake. You know? People were making predictions of like 4. We're going to score 4. You know, big numbers. You know, Gyökeres was going to, you know, this is why we bought Gyökeres. We signed him to do well against teams like this. He's going to get a brace. You know?
Yeah.
So a lot of that was going around in my head as I'm watching it. And then you just have to remind yourself, man, football, it's never a given.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It is never a given.
Yeah. Look, there's a reason why they're professional footballers. You know, there's more than 25 of them in the world, and Arsenal don't have all of them on their books. Wolverhampton Wanderers have a decent amount of players who have quality enough to be the top 20 in the football league. You know what I mean? In the Premier League. So it is a they're getting paid to get the best result for their club as well. And
do you remember when they got that breakaway when Hwang got the ball and he done a Martinelli? Just came through the middle of the pitch. You know what I mean? You know,
that was when White did his hamstring.
Nervous moments, right?
Yeah,
very nervous moments.
That was a moment that stressed our back forward to the point of Ben White tearing something in his hamstring. So you know that kind of sloppiness where the ball is headed away, and two Arsenal players leave it to each other, and the Wolverhampton Wanderers player gets through, and has speed enough.
But why does it happen? It's that people say this phrase a lot recently, don't they? They say high risk, high reward. Yeah. And I would imagine that the high risk is that we play a very high line. And there's not a lot of cover at the back.
And risk an injury.
Because our fullbacks, for example, they like to get into those attacking positions when you think of a Calafiori or you think of a Timber, how inverted and high they come. High risk. Yeah. Right? They're not doing a Nigel Winterburn or a Lee Dixon as part of a flat back 4. So there's the high risk, right? The reward is that we've seen that they've scored goals and been involved in good opportunities. But that was one of those ones where that was the high risk, right? Because the ball comes over and Hwang's away and there's no one. Do you know what I mean? There's no one in the rear guard who can try and make a challenge. Yeah. You know, and we got to be careful of that. If you're not on it that day and you're still playing that way, you can. There's the high risk right there.
Yeah.
And people say that a lot, don't they? High risk, high reward. Well, that was an example of a high risk.
Yeah, David Raya is another example, and the goals he conceded recently were pretty decent goals. I'm thinking about Richarlison for Tottenham, the goal he conceded. He's off his line, but it's a very, very, very good goal. There's quality there. The high risk, high reward. Michael says, worryingly, if our first choice centre backs are out, it's a drop off. Maybe Kivior is more solid than Hincapie. Yeah, I mean, any team's first choice central defenders, will be a drop off if they lose them. My worry is that players might be regressing under this Arteta system.
And also, Henkapi is one player, he has come from another league. He has got more of a, when you're saying about players need time to settle and their environment, there's a very good excuse than other players for Henkapi because he's come from another league. New culture. I don't know what his English is like, right? He's also had to travel to South America because he's plays for Uruguay. So there's a lot of travelling involved when he has to play internationally, right? Because he's have to go to South America and that. But from what I've seen, I like what I've seen with Hincapié.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of, when I heard that we got him on loan with an option to buy, I was like, that is a big move because he does have very high regard in football circles. And again, he's that quality left-footed centre back, which is so coveted that we have another good one. I always said, if you're going to sell a good player, I don't care as long as if you replace them with someone really good. And I think they've done that with Kiwior because I liked Kiwior a lot.
Yes,
he proved himself. But I'm like, if you're going to sell him, it has to be for someone that's, it can't be below. And I think Hincapié, I'm not like, this guy is not even as good as I'm not looking at him like that.
He's good.
Yeah. And his attitude as well. He's got the Martin Keown's about him as well, he'll make a big tackle and the guy's on the floor and he'll be like looking down at him and grimacing. I like a little bit of that. It's good. I like that attitude.
Yeah. Shout out to Gary who's on the bus all the way back from New York City.
Oh, really?
Tuning in, Gary. Thanks for being here.
I had a good time, Gary, in the Big Apple.
Stephen said, "I don't."
Did you get one of those obligatory "I Heart New York" T-shirts and a miniature Statue of Liberty that's about that big? You'll get those two things. Right?
Stephen said, "Doesn't think we're regressing. They're just not allowed to play to their strengths by the system. We play more direct in Champions League, and Martinelli has scored 4, and Gyökeres looks better." I also think the standard for most of the teams in the Champions League, not as strong as the Premier League for me. BX Gunner, you're late at work, but listening along. Greetings, everyone. All right, if you build it, they will come. Isn't that what they say? All right, a lot of pleasantries coming on. Saka has been quiet, but he was good. He pretty much secured the 3 points against Wolverhampton Wanderers. The league is so close that there's 3 points between 4th and 10th. That's crazy. So, yeah, there could be a lot of movement. We took a chance by rushing Saka back from injury last season's end. Why the hell do we seem to go defensive when we get the lead? It's not the players doing it. 10 players do not all at the same time decide. It comes from Arteta. It nearly costs us 2 points again. You have to give credit to the quality of the opposition as well. Sometimes the quality of the opposition will push you back. All right, what kind of chips are you eating, Stan?
Quite boring because I think the crisps here in Canada, in Vancouver, they're really boring. You don't get like Monster Munch or like Scampi and lemons. There's no variety. Onions. So I usually get a really Funyuns. They're like rare. Now and again they treat us with Funyuns, but it's not a regular thing. But I usually just eat original ready salted kettle chips. They come in a big massive bag for like $9. And I just tear into them. But the potato chip scene here is not as good as the UK. It's not as inventive.
Very true. I would agree with that.
Lay's are dominant. Lay's are like dominant here. It's all Lay's.
Yeah.
They don't even have smoky bacon. They have barbecue beef and other stuff. No smoky bacon.
Boys, good to see you, says Charles. Let's talk elephant in the room. Victor, 2 problems I see. Shot volume and defender separation. Separation, I understand. He can work on. But shots? ... Not his problem, right?
So what are you saying?
Not his problem, right? Question mark. I think tongue firmly in cheek there. Isn't that what they say? Um, shot volume and defender separation. So yeah, Victor Yokers is not getting the service. I don't know if I think we should maybe go into it now. What do you think?
Yeah. So is that what
Uh,
your thoughts are? You're in that
my,
camp.
so yeah, I'll give you. You've got some thoughts on this, right? So I'll give you my thoughts. I think he's got qualities that our team has not adapted to yet. You see, the standard was okay. The standard was less in Portugal, but he had players around him who was finding him, who was finding his runs, and almost seemed like every opportunity he got in Lisbon that he was scoring them. You know, and the standard being less and less in the Premier League. I just feel like we're the way we play a lot of. We've been playing with wingers a lot, Stan, the last few seasons. I don't think we've quite adapted to this kind of center forward. Kai Havertz, we know Kai Havertz qualities. He withdraws a little bit and can end up on the back post. So he's working with our wingers to get his goals, I believe. Gyökeres needs better service, I believe.
Well, I've had a, let's go back to when we first were going to sign. We were looking to sign a striker, and it was basically down to two players, right? Victor Gyökeres and Sesko. They seemed to be the two names, and it was out of those. And at the time, I was of the opinion that I wasn't sure about either of them. I thought maybe if you're looking at a prospect, and that's what you're looking for, maybe you go for Sesko. But a lot of the talk was, no, we need something that's ready now. That's the one piece that is missing at Arsenal, and that's a striker, and a striker that can come in now. Not a prospect, not a youngster. We don't need any of that. We need this, missing link, right? And a lot of people were like, look at City with a Haaland. We need something like that. And it was about low blocks. Teams that are going to play against us a lot now with the low blocks. And that was what they said that they bought. People thought that we'd buy Victor Gyökeres for. But if you look back to his last season, right, when he was playing in Portugal, if you look at his dribbles where he carried the ball, and from carrying the ball, it ended in a goal. He done that 9 times. And when he was doing the same thing, dribbling and carrying in the ball, and it ended in an assist, he done that 5 times, right? So that's 14 times. And that is more in Europe than Mo Salah, for example, for last year. And that's more than Vinicius Jr. The highest. But he's not playing like that at Arsenal. Right?
Yeah.
Right now in the Premier League, he's the player that loses possession the most. 42%. So when he gets the ball, 42% of the time, he ends up losing possession. So why is that? I've noticed with Victor Gyökeres, right, that he likes to take touches. He's not a sharpshooter striker. He likes to play a game where he receives the ball, he'll take his first touch, and a lot of the time, this is another thing, his first touch isn't the best. But he likes to take another 2 touches, and that might involve him trying to spin off of a defender when he puts his arm. He likes to do that. He's the sort of player that looks for contact.
Yes.
He actively goes looking to have contact with defenders. Where sometimes, if you look at Haaland, right, as an example, how many times do you watch Match of Day and they're like, Haaland has hardly done nothing in this game, and then the ball goes to him, and then before you know it, he scores. He doesn't actively look. He's a big guy, but he doesn't actively go looking for contact, whereas Gyökeres does. But that percentage that I gave you, right, say 40%, 42% of the time, like he loses the ball, right? He loses possession. Now, if you make a comparison to that with Marino, it's
No.
28% of the time,
Okay.
right?
Big drop off.
With Jesus, it's 26% of the time, and with Havertz, it's only 24% of the time,
Wow.
compared to Victor Gyökeres, who is at 42% of the time.
Wow.
And the situation is right, is that he's supposed to be a box player, but there's a lot of times that we don't play a game where we play low probability balls from our wingers into the forward. Our wingers travel with the ball and bring the play up. And when a pass is made, Gyökeres likes to follow the ball, and he ends up picking the ball up on either the right-hand side of the penalty area or the left-hand side of the penalty area. And then if you freeze the TV at that moment and you look into the penalty area, there's no one else hitting the space in the penalty box. Because the argument is that's where he's supposed to be. And you're thinking, well, I've seen him in the penalty box quite a lot, but I've got some numbers here as well, right? About him being in the penalty box. So he takes 8% of his touches in the penalty box, 8% of the time. This is Havertz. So Havertz is more of a penalty box player. This is what I'm saying, right? Because 8% of his work is in the center of the penalty box area. To the right side of the penalty box, to the right bit, he does 5% of his work as a striker. And to the left side of the penalty box, he takes 1%. He does 1% of his work. Now, if you compare that to Gyökeres, even though Gyökeres does 12% of his work in the middle, on the right-hand side it's 7%, and on the left-hand side it's 7%. You see the increase? He's spending a lot more time than Kai Havertz is in the right-hand side and the left-hand side by a lot.
Wow.
And we don't play to that. We just don't play to that.
No.
I don't know if that's his fault or our fault. But the way that this guy plays isn't the way that our attacks, that's not the way that we create our chances. The best fit for the way that we play is Mourinho, Havertz, or Jesus. Unless we just rip everything up, and then from tomorrow we start playing this new way that fits the way that Victor Gyökeres plays for us. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
But that's what the problem is.
Michael said we have Havertz like Alan Smith, Gyökeres like Kevin Campbell. We're missing the Ian Wright there of that whole ensemble. Charles says, Stan, great point and good listen there. So how can we help become successful with Victor? I mean, just because he's bought for 55 billion does not mean he's that class player. Could easily be 80 or 90.
I think part of the problem is, as I say, that sometimes when he positions himself, he likes to go and look for the battle when sometimes it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe in the Portuguese league, he was getting away with that. And he's not getting away with it here. And that's why a lot of the time when you see him doing that in the penalty box where he's got a couple of defenders and he goes looking for it, he invariably falls over. And it doesn't matter that there's been quite a variety in the size of the defenders that he's come up against. As I say, he likes to get into those wide channels. He likes a pass played to him where he can feel the ball. He wants to get at least 3 touches. And during that time, he wants to have a defender there and he wants to use his strength to barge past that defender.
But now in the Premier League,
that's how he likes to play, and he's successful at doing that. But we don't play that way.
He's got stronger.
We don't play that way. So something, do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is that I can see how he wants to play, because when he's doing that and he's out there on the one of those wide channels, trying to do what he likes to do, I've just shown you, right? But 42% of the time when he does pick up the ball, he's prone to lose it. Now that's his fault. Whether we play to that way or whatever, what we're saying is that even when he does manage to get himself into playing positions that he prefers, he's got a 42% chance of losing possession, and that's quite bad. There's no way around that. That's bad. But then you got the other side of it is that when he's out in those wide channels and he's picking up the ball in those areas that he likes to, you look over to where the penalty box and no one else is getting in there. It's empty. Maybe one time it might be Martinelli, but there's no one else in there crashing the box. So the question is, where should he be? Should he be in the box and should somebody else be doing that stuff? Or should we be playing to a way where he gets the balls out, but other people now have to crash the box in case something happens?
Yeah, I think he should be in the box. I mean, that's
for me. Kai Havertz is a penalty box player. Tap-ins, shots. He does come deep, but invariably when he comes deep, he's helping create it for someone else. He's not coming deep and then scoring, right? He might come deep, create for someone else, but then he'll have the wherewithal and the pace to get into the box and maybe then get that pass and head it in. Yeah. But he does a lot of his work in the penalty box. So I'm just thinking, for me, with everybody fit, I mean, here's the question, right? You're the manager, everybody is fit, and you've got to pick a team for a game tomorrow. Ouch. Who is your first, for that position to play as that number 9, that on the team sheet, who's your first choice? Is it Victor Gyökeres? Because it's not mine. And I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I'm not digging in that. I'm just saying, with everybody fit, I've got a choice of Victor Gyökeres, Moreno, Jesus, and Havertz. And I look at the way that we play and the other players play. He's not my first pick.
I would
probably say that he's not my second or third pick either.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit harsh. Especially when it's like, well, when you do get possession, you're losing it 42% of the time. And the other lads, do you know what I mean? I've got players that lose it 50% less than that. 50% less than that. So I just think that he's not a young kid at 21, 22 who, you can teach things to. Maybe he can get better, maybe, but he's 28. Why hasn't he learned that already? I want him to be the best striker for Arsenal there is. I want every one of our signings to be like a work of genius. But the other day when it was like I saw Mikel Merino getting warmed up to come on. I actually said to myself, I hope he's coming on for Gyökeres. I did. That's what I wanted. I thought, okay, he's coming on. I hope it's for Gyökeres. And it wasn't. Gyökeres was still staying on. So, I don't want it to be like that. But at that time in the match state, I was thinking, yeah, let's get this guy off and bring on Merino. It shouldn't be like that, right? It shouldn't be like that. I'm not saying that if he gets better, I'm going to hate it. I'll be the first one to love it. Because if he's doing really well, then hopefully that means that the team is doing really well. But, we're not playing to the way that he likes to play is one problem. We're not. It's a bad fit. And if we're going to continue to face teams like they're going to look at Wolves as the blueprint, and he's going to continue to play, it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. So, but Kai Havertz isn't coming back now to mid-January to late January. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, if that's where we are, Gabriel Jesus or Mikel Merino, one of those two, I want to start, and I want Gyökeres on the bench. I want him coming off the bench and somehow trying to work his way into the team by adapting. Because it seems like we're not going to adapt to him. You know, should a whole team adapt to one person? Should it be a bit of it? I don't know, but I just think that. Okay, the argument is will stand. If you're saying that the way that we've been playing is better, how comes we've not won the league in the last few seasons and finished second? I get that. Maybe there is a change that's needed, but you can't tell me that if we're going to play to this style, it's better. It's better than the way that we have been playing with the Mikel Mourinho. Even when Jesus came on, man, come on. He came on and we started looking a bit lively again. And that's no slur on Mikel on Victor Gyökeres. It's because Jesus is playing. He doesn't play the same way, and the way that he plays, it's a way that it fits. It fits the way that Arsenal play with a centre striker. They can come deep. They can start something. Someone else can take the ball up the pitch, and before you know it, that guy that started the move is in the box, getting on the end of something, and it just seems to work. And I want to see more of that. I want to go back to that, you know, because it seems with Victor Gyökeres, in order for it to work, he's a typical Goldilocks player in that the porridge cannot be too hot, the porridge cannot be too cold. But in order for it to work, the porridge has got to be just right. And this far into the season, we've got at stake, and only being 2 points now ahead of Man City. I ain't got time for that. It's too frightening. I ain't got time. There's not a big enough cushion for us to be struggling on with this. We need to maybe come back to that later. But for now, I think we need to go back to what works in the attack. And the attacks with our wingers, as I say, moving the ball up the pitch, rather than trying to play low probability passes into a striker. That's not how we've been playing. It's not going to work. So there you go. That's my theory on the Victor Gyökeres conundrum. And the Eze one for me is much simpler and very quick. It's like with Eze, for me, it's like, you know, the hat trick, which you can never take away from him against Spurs, you know, which, you know, that puts you into the legend book. And he did have that win against Crystal Palace, a winning goal. But it is fair to say that the Eze that we saw at Crystal Palace, the way that we saw him when he played in Crystal Palace, he's not been doing that at Arsenal. And maybe the answer to that is, and I don't know, but maybe the answer to that is that when you come and play at Arsenal, you don't get that much freedom. It's more regimented. And maybe the reason that he's not playing and we're not seeing, just with the eye test, the Eze that we saw at Crystal Palace, is because he's not being given the room to play in that manner. There are other things that you need to do. And look at Man City, look at Pep Guardiola, who's considered, you know, the manager. You know, they won their match and Cherki scored a goal. And he said, yeah, he scored a goal, but he didn't do anything else. And you got to do, same with Savinho. Savinho scored a goal. Yeah, but he didn't do anything else. So the two players that scored goals, he still dug them out and said that in order to play for Man City, you're going to have to do more than that. It's more than that. And, you know, there's something to be said about that kind of a mentality.
Yeah, 100%. Going back to Gyökeres a little bit, Gary said Gyökeres finally showed his style that worked in the Burnley game, and then he got injured because we had no depth. So a little bit of stop-start situation going on there. Stand that Jesus and Havertz are from trophyless eras of the club and scare no one, to be very honest. Charles.
But neither does Gyökeres. I'm just saying. I'm saying that what we have at the moment, he's not my number one pick. He's not my number two pick at the moment.
Yeah, I at this point in the season, I have to agree with you. I would go with, you know, if he's a fully fit, Kai Havertz would work better in this Arsenal team.
If I have to use a microscope to try and find the good, I'm looking too deeply. I'm just being honest. I've got nothing against the guy. I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? It's like I'm really like trying to.
Yeah, the goals have not been flowing for him. There has been goals. It's not been a drought by any stretch of the imagination, but you would have wanted more from Victor Gyökeres. That okay, we realized nobody thought he was going to score 50 goals in a season or 2 seasons.
Stats are there, right? As I said, last season when he played for Portugal, when it came from dribbles with the ball to goal actions, he got the most. Not in the league, his league, in Europe. And the same with assists. More than anyone, more than Mo Salah, more than Vinicius Juniors, more than Lamine Yamin, all these big names. But we're not playing that style. But when he's tried to play that style in the Premier League, because he likes to take these, he likes to touch the ball. He likes to get 3 touches in, right? 42% of the time, he's losing possession.
Yeah, and he's getting crowded out by better defenders.
But he tries to take a defender. He puts his arm. He tries to roll them.
Yeah,
and invariably he'll lose possession.
He doesn't have the best technique for that. Gary
But the thing is, that's what served him well. So I'm getting at. But it's not serving him well in our team and up against.
But that's because he's playing against stronger, more physical, and more mobile defenders that can cover. If a defender in the Premier League loses a yard somewhere, they can recover that yard in the next 10 yards, to get back goal side. Gary said Jesus for 6 months was perfect. Not sure we will see that again. Kai and Marino were missing the finishing. Gyökeres, I believe, has, but he's getting a few chances. Haaland gets probably 5 good chances per game. Yeah, and how come Haaland get that separation?
No, I would say that, and I don't know how long you've been with us tonight, Gary, because I did go into I went into some numbers and stuff about Gyökeres, but I would say that with Haaland, there's many times where it's like you don't even see him in the game. You don't see him in the game, and then it's like 70 minutes, and then the ball goes to him. All of a sudden, he's got 2 meters of space in front of him, and he shoots. Up until that point in the game, he doesn't go looking for battles. Same with Lukaku. Yeah. A lot of these big players, they're big, but the clever ones, they don't go looking for it. But Victor Gyökeres does. He actively goes looking for contact. Actively.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like and you just think to yourself, like, if Haaland doesn't get that one chance and he doesn't score, at the end of the game, he's going to get a shit rating because you're like, well, what did he do? But he manages to do it every game. He's such a big guy, but he manages to keep himself invisible, and he'll get that one chance, and he's a sharp shooter. Whereas I say, Victor Gyökeres likes to get himself into positions where he can give himself at least 3 touches. He wants at least 3 touches. He's not a sharp shooter.
Yeah.
Haaland is a sharp shooter. Haaland don't need like all these touches. He gets himself into positions where he's like, get the ball, bang. Good night. Yeah. Did you see where I'm coming from? And it works. Because in this league, you don't get 3 touches. Because of the quality of that's what's around you, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And if you notice, how many times does he end up going in for a physical battle and he's the one that ends up on his ass?
Yeah.
He's the one. And he's kicking out his leg and kick the ball. And I've seen that one.
I remember the Aston Villa game. Where we're under pressure, Stan, and we need to hold on to the ball, but he's unable to be that outlet that can hold the ball up. You know what I mean? Not happening.
Exactly. That's exactly it, Charles. Exactly.
Charles says that is what defender separation means. Haaland separation is without engagement. Victor is with engagement. That is the difference. Just players, but still, how can players behind him play? Yeah, and as something.
But this is the thing, right? Here's the thing. But this is backs up what I was saying, right? If he's going to be constantly playing for engagement, which is a nice phrase, right? Whereas I call it, he's actively looking for contact. He's looking for the battle. But he's losing possession 42% of the time. The highest than anybody. You see what I mean? It's not working for him. He's actively looking for it. And it's not paying him any dividends because he has the highest the highest percentage number of losing the ball when he has percentage than anybody else at 42%. And I went through the numbers, right? You know, the best one is Havertz, who 24% of the time he loses possession. That's almost half. That's half.
Gary said, Stan, that example sounds like Pepe, who will do nothing for 85 minutes, but those last 5 minutes, I think he does more odd the ball, similar to Jokers, but both creating space for the wings.
Well, if you're talking about Haaland not doing much and then the eighth, but the thing is with Haaland is that when he gets that chance, it's invariably a goal. And there's games where he sometimes gets more than one chance. He'll get 2 chances and he'll leave the game with a brace. He finishes his dinner. And if you're going to do that, fair enough. And he's a big guy. He's such a big guy, but he doesn't go looking for the tussle. That's not his game. But as I say, and you could say the same about Lukaku, Drogba. But Victor Gyökeres, he goes looking for it. And it doesn't pay off because 42% of the time, if he gets possession of the ball, he loses possession. Known as he loses it, he ends up with his arse on the ground. So it's just not working, is it? I don't see how he gets better at that. I don't see how he gets better at that at 28 years old. I don't see how you coach that. The only way he gets better is if he's willing to reinvent himself. And if he's willing to reinvent himself, then we have another false 9 who may be really good at that position. If he's willing to play in that way, but does he have the pace for that? I don't know.
Interesting.
You know, some players that don't have pace, I always think of players that don't have pace that were good strikers. And the one that always comes to mind for me is Teddy Sheringham. Teddy Sheringham didn't have any pace. He had a very high goal talent. Why is that? Right place at the right time. Same as a Berbatov. Right place, reads the game. They're able to read the game, be in the right place at the right time, and they don't need a lot of touches.
Interesting what you're saying.
No place.
Some Arsenal fans, maybe myself included, was thinking the service needs to be better to Gyökeres, but you're presenting a thoughtful point for me to think about is that Gyökeres needs to modify his game.
One last thing as well is like if you're going to have a striker, there's 2 things that you really want out of them. One is in this game, modern game, you want pace, and you want technique, i.e., technique put in the goal. You know, and you can sometimes get away with having not one of those if you really excel in the other. Because if you've got really, really good pace, but you might not be the best finisher, you've still got enough pace where you're going to make and create chances for yourself. Did you know what I mean? Which gives you more opportunities to get into goal. So you might be like a 1 in 4 shots. Where some players don't even get 4 shots because they don't have the pace to get in there. You can get away with it. Or you can be a player that doesn't have a lot of pace and be like a Teddy Sheringham, and you're able to read the game and be in the right place and be there at the right time, but also have the technique to call that ball into the top corner. But what do you do if you can't do either? And I don't want to sound mean, but I think that Victor Gyökeres lacks in both of those departments to succeed in the Premier League. Doesn't have pace, and I don't think he has the technique. Not from what I've technique-wise, not from what I've seen this far.
I think there's time to turn it around for sure. Half a season so far. Gary said I've been screaming for Gyökeres to make that near post run when Saka has the ball. That pass versus Wolves hurt me when Victor was late. Saka should be screaming at Gyökeres to get there. We need better communication.
Again, that's the awareness that I'm talking about. Is it to do with a lack of pace as well?
Well, I think
a lack of pace, a lack of forethought, a lack of vision. I don't know.
But Stan, we played so much in the last 2-3 seasons by not throwing that ball in there. Saka has not traditionally done that.
But do you not think that for the reasons that we thought we were buying a striker, what we were missing, do you not think it was to have that particular chance should be bread and butter for what it is that we were looking for? A chance just like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But Saka doesn't play
And
enough of those into the box. If Saka puts 2 or 3 those in a game, Joker is going to look for them 2 and 3 times each game. You know?
You might not get 2 or 3 chances. That's what it's about, right? I mean, surely they do stuff in training. You know, as you say, Saka doesn't do that a lot. Maybe that's been a new instruction. You know, we want to use Victor, Saka. You know, change your game around. You've got an extra tool in your bag. Instead of always trying to cut in and take on a couple of defenders, which a lot of the time you're doing well at and scoring, you've now got another tool in your bag, and you can fool them, and you can take the ball to the byline. And we've got this guy now. He's going to come in and poke those in, but he didn't do that. Saka did his part.
Yeah.
Is that a lack of chemistry? Is that like a move that we'll see again, and the next time he will be there? You know, we can only go on what we've seen so far. But so far, to me, I'm looking at someone who doesn't have a lot of pace.
Sometimes I feel like
needs a lot of touches on the ball. Whose first touch is not very good, and has had shots and not done well with them. So again, I'm looking at pace and technique, and I'm thinking I don't see either. And I don't see how you increase pace, right? You don't. It's so hopefully
sometimes.
Maybe he improves as his touch and all of that. Maybe it's nerves. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've seen so far, and I'm not having a go. I'm not saying fuck Victor Gyökeres, run him out. I'm just saying I've tried to in my breakdown of him. I've tried to tell you why I think he's failing. Not just that I'm saying I think he's shit. I've tried to show you. I've had a look, and this is why I think this is what's happening here. But it's not working for us. So,
I definitely think it's an onus on the winger to put that cross in the box, and then by that cross coming in, it's up to the striker to start reading him and get into that spot that Gary was screaming for Saka to be there, or for Gyökeres to be there. So hopefully in games to come, that's going to develop more and more. Charles says, sure, Stan, I agree. Your views are credible for sure, but come on, some give and take between a system and a center forward is not possible. Not a rip-up, but flexibility. And what's the point of the system first place?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
then, Martin Odegaard as well. What's going on there? And the reason I say what's going on there is it's like we've seen him do other stuff. We've seen it. It's not like he's always played like this. And it's like, okay, he's safe. Blah, blah, blah. We've seen him do other stuff, and the other stuff that we've seen him do has been on more of, I would say, if there was a barometer, the needle would be leaning towards the creativity side of what he's involved in and what I thought he was about as a player. And that seems to have waned. Not gone. He still could get a shot off, but it does seem to have waned. I mean, that season where he scored 15 goals and got something like 7 assists or whatever it was.
Yeah.
When I saw that happen, I thought to myself, wow, if I was in charge, I'd be thinking to myself, it's not easy to get a midfielder that can give you them numbers. Mm-hmm. I'm now going to build around a system that caters for that player to continue to do that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to have a system, but the key component is obviously I want my strikers forwards to get me 20 goals, but a midfielder that's going to give me 15 goals and 7 assists in all competitions. Those goal involvements, that is a big plus. So I want to make sure that geezer is doing that. And it doesn't feel like we did that. It felt like we changed a lot. We changed a lot of stuff, and that player was now asked to do something different.
So we changed a lot, and then Odegaard looks to have regressed because we changed a lot of things. Maybe some people said in the last season or two Kai Havertz coming into the team into midfield, Odegaard was required maybe to drop deeper. We had that conversation about
Okay, I
Odegaard.
think that he doesn't. There was that season where it looked like he wasn't going for the shot as often as he should. He was looking for a pass. You know, if he was a sniper on the roof, looking down at the bad guy running in, you've got someone on the radio to him going, "Take the shot, take the fucking shot," and he's still just like looking down the sights. There was a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
You know, I almost felt like the amount of times I was on that radio telling Odegaard to just take the shot, that he wasn't. He was looking to like play someone else in. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a lack of confidence, not wanting to be responsible. But I have seen him improve in that area.
Yeah.
He's not maybe doing it as often as I like, but it just seems that when he does take these shots, and they're just straight at the keeper all the time.
Yeah, we need Odegaard to get back.
Just not able. It's just, you know, and I just think to myself, keep doing it, do more of it, because the more you do it, you will find your rhythm again. Don't let that put you off.
He needs to arrive at the penalty spot, right about that 12-yard area, 12 to 15-yard area. Arrive onto the ball as it's being pulled back from Martinelli or Saka position on the wing, and then take the shot, as you say. Gary said Saka can beat his man anytime he wants, but as Ray says, he doesn't make that cross much. And we need to, maybe we're in a phase of Arsenal's development where we will put those crosses in more often. You know, maybe if you develop those stats of how many times Saka or Martinelli.
Isn't that the style of play that we thought we were getting more into our game, where we would have those kind of crosses coming in?
It might take a little while.
And number 9, you know, sliding in, and you know, Aubameyang could maybe get goals like that. Someone sliding in and toe poking. It's a bit scruffy. It's not going to make maybe goal of the season, but it's an important goal. That's why I think a lot of people thought that he was going to be playing that role. And when that, and as Gary says, you know, he doesn't play that pass a lot. Well, maybe he played it because they've trained that now. That's what they've been learning. You know, if that is the case, where the fuck was Gyökeres? It's like, did you forget that we? Did you forget training?
Victor, you're supposed to be here. You're 3 or 4 yards.
He's gone out onto the stage and he's just forgot his lines.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
For that to happen, the winger has to believe that the striker is going to get there, and the striker has to believe that the ball is going to come in with quality.
And as I say, maybe, you know, this is something that they're practicing. It didn't go right. The telepathy isn't there yet. But maybe we keep seeing that happen if Gyökeres is going to continue to play, that is.
Yeah.
And we see that move more often, and it becomes, you know, they click. Who knows? Maybe this is, but Gary's right. He doesn't usually play that ball, but maybe this is part of.
And we are in a part of the season where maybe Erling Haaland he knows how to score goals in the Premier League, and we've had players like Reinders and Cherky now get up to speed in the Premier League.
Yeah,
we're asking Gyökeres to do the same thing, to get up to speed now and start weighing in with goals. Gary says,
look at the thing is, like, you have to look at other numbers as well. You have to look at other numbers as well.
Yeah,
you know, Delap at Chelsea has only scored 1 goal in 11 appearances.
Yeah, it's been poor.
You know.
Yeah.
If you just want to look at numbers.
Yeah, Pedro.
There you go. You know. But you know, who knows? You know, I don't really want to go back to Gyökeres because we spent a long time on him. But we were talking about Odegaard. And Gary's right. I like what Gary says there. Odegaard keeps teasing us. And he does that so much. It's like he's wearing a mini skirt and every now and again he crosses your leg and you're trying to is he wearing?
Yeah.
You know, he's doing a basic instinct. And you're like, was he wearing any? I get that. He does. And then, but it never, that end result is just not coming for him. But he does seem to be, since he's come back, trying to go for a shot more than a pass or setting off the horseshoe of despair movement around the penalty box, which I hate. But there was a time, when you make a comparison, there was a time when I was looking at Martin Odegaard and thinking, okay, so this is our Kevin De Bruyne then. Yep. This is our version. This is our version of that player that does those things. That's how I looked at him, but that's not what's happening now. But there was a period of time where that's what I thought his game was all about, right? That's not what it is now. That's not what it is now.
Almost as if Odegaard's influence has gone down in the team as Declan Rice's influence has increased. Interesting to think about, right?
I never considered that. But, with
Declan Rice has come to the fore.
He has had a little bit of a stop-start, has a long injury, comes back, gets injured in the same game because he falls on his shoulder. Bad luck shit. Mm-hmm. At least it's not like a reoccurring error injury where it's like he's out because of an ankle, comes back, first game, the ankle goes again. He's just been a bit unlucky with it, a little bit. But again, I'm saying, right, is it because the way that we play, and the way that we've drilled? And I remember what I said earlier. He played a certain way. He was getting certain things, but Mikel Arteta has moved the team on to play in another way, which is what I said earlier about Eze. We are not seeing the Eze that we saw at Crystal Palace. Because at Crystal Palace, he was obviously afforded more license.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe playing for at Arsenal for Mikel Arteta, you have to play the game in a different way. I mean, look at Martinelli. Martinelli's really good at coming back and helping with the defensive stuff. But was that something that he naturally came to us with, or did he learn that if you want to play on the left wing at Arsenal for this guy, this is what you need to be able to do? And he's gone, yeah, I want to play for Arsenal under this guy. I will do those things because it seems to serve him well, right? And that's what I'm saying. You see a player, Martin Odegaard, the way that there is a change. And Eze, he scored a hat-trick, scored a winning goal at Crystal Palace, but he's not looking like, when he used to watch the match of the day and there's a Crystal Palace, he's like Eze, a little bit like Semenyo. And you think to yourself, why would you buy these creative players, but then try to put a muzzle on them? And so I know what you do at this club. I know how you play in this way, but you got to play this way here.
Yeah.
Did you know what I mean? I hope it's not like that. I'm just hypothesizing. I'm not saying that is the case.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a case of that, there's a different you play at Arsenal and you play in a certain position. There's other jobs that you must do. And that's what I was talking about Pep Guardiola when he said about Fabinho and Cherki, who both scored goals. They won their match, yet to the camera, he said they didn't do much else that I wanted them to do other than score the goal.
Or Lionel Messi.
Where the fuck were your defensive duties?
He said Lionel Messi never needed to do
and this is Man City. That's the standard. This is Man City. Not, we just won. And look at the 2 goals. It was like, they scored the 2 goals. But what else? They didn't do anything else. I'm not happy with that. And it's easier to tell someone off or make your point when you're winning. It's taken better. You know what I mean? It's taken better when you're winning than when you're losing, right? Because when you're losing, then you feel like you're being made a scapegoat, right?
Charles said, can't Odegaard, Declan are progressions. Runners can't release the pass early for forward runners rather than them cuddling the ball to the edge of the box. Leave the edge of the box gimmick to Eze.
They were definitely trying to cuddle the ball in the Wolves game. And he listened to the pundits and the TV and they were saying, like, they need to release the ball quicker.
Take that goatee off and give him a longer lock. See him far off that shining stone, eh? And then we have on Twitter that showed Odegaard free kick that was 2-3 years ago. The Odegaard.
I thought that's what we were getting. I thought that Martin Odegaard was like our version of Kevin De Bruyne. When it comes to free kicks, he's your man. And out of maybe, 5 direct free kicks, he might score 2 or 3.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the other ones are being saved. The goalkeeper's pulled out a worldie. That's what I thought we were getting. Turns out that guy's Declan Rice against Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Turns out he's the guy that does that.
Well, we want to see more from Declan Rice if Declan Rice is the one that's doing it, you know? All right.
And Gary's right about that, right? And we're talking about being given license. And I was saying about, Eze, he doesn't seem to be doing the same, that free role, being able to, but fucking Calafiori, man, what's his deal?
You have to play left back if you want to have a license.
It's like he's been given the key to the city, literally, and them big novelty keys. You now have the freedom of the city. He goes where he wants, when he wants, and it works because he does put in the defensive part of the job as well, to be fair, as does Timber. But Gary's right. I mean,
name as
Calafiori's got he's got one of them like bus passes that lets you get onto any bus at any time, travel anywhere. There's no times that's a peak. You have to pay more. It's just, but it does seem to work.
You have to make Eze a left back if you want him to have that license, a creative license to roam and attack. All right, it seems like a long time ago now, Stan, since I was leading up to the equalizer from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah, we talked to our Arsenal fans as well at the start of the podcast. Some of their attitude is find another scapegoat to blame. Hincapie. Some of them were trying to blame Hincapie for the goal that deflected off of his head, or Hincapie wasn't marking the player well enough. It's pretty impossible to stop that goal. It was not intentional. The player didn't shoot to have the deflection. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are blaming Hincapie. They're blaming Hincapie for the Aston Villa goal as well.
He's one of our newest players. Out of all of the players, he's the one that has that settling in, acclimatization. He's come from Italy. He doesn't speak English. New environment. He's had injuries. He's also had to fly to South America to play for his country. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look at Kivior. Kivior was a nightmare, but he was being played out of position on the left, right? Settled in. I think for me, Hincapie, hopefully all going well, he's the heir apparent to Gabriel Jesus. Sorry, not Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Megalegs. Left-sided centre-back. I'm not writing him off or even giving him any shade. As good as William Saliba is, I've seen him make a couple of mistakes. It's a vulnerable position to be playing in. And look at the improvement of Megalegs. Do you remember how rash he used to be? He used to be really rash. One of our most best improved players is him. He's got a bit of a temperament, be a little bit rash, get himself 2 yellows and off or straight reds. You know what I mean? And now we're under the cosh because he ain't. But he's learned. And I think that's testament to him. You got to give your hat off to the coaching staff as well, that they managed to manage that and still give him his edge. And look how valuable he is to us now with the goals that he scores. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So I think that Hincapie is a good understudy. I like it that he's got someone like Megalegs as his understudy. Very good transition. Lots good to learn from. I like it. Both South American. They probably have a lot of stuff in common. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. Gary said he's almost home if we're still on. Hopefully he can join in. And don't know if he knows me waning a little bit during the podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, he's either sleeping or he's really thinking about those numbers that I gave him. And I went for the latter. I thought, he's really thinking.
Well, thank you.
He's really thinking about those percentages.
You are most kind to me, Stan. Most kind indeed. Kind sir. Yeah, I had to get some.
I would like to ask a question. I did ask a question, and it was hypothetical, but no one answered. We're playing football tomorrow. Our next fixture is tomorrow,
Havertz.
right?
Havertz.
Everyone is fit in the 9 position.
Uh-huh.
Marino is fit. Havertz is fit. Jesus is fit. Gyökeres is fit. And I want to ask everyone in the chat, Gary, everyone, who was your first pick? All being equal, all being well for that position. Who are you
Well,
picking?
I'll kick off because much like Erling Haaland and Man City, Haaland is established in the Premier League and knows what he's doing now.
Sorry,
Kai
one of us is
Havertz.
frozen.
Kai Havertz, huh?
One of us froze. It might have been me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Kai Havertz has been established in the Arsenal team, knows the sequences of play that we've been trying to institute. And if he's fully fit, as you say, I'm picking Kai Havertz. The hope would be that Gyökeres would make it a very difficult decision between Kai Havertz and Gyökeres. And maybe it is still a difficult decision, but the bare numbers behind Kai Havertz versus Gyökeres would lead me to believe that Kai Havertz would be a better option right now in terms of purely
I
goal.
would also go as far as to say that he's a better footballer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say he's a better striker. I'll be generous, but as a footballer, I mentioned earlier about who loses the less in possession. When I talked about being in the penalty box. I gave you the numbers,
Havertz,
right? I gave you the numbers. Who's drifting out right or left more? It's Gyökeres. I gave all them numbers, right? So for me, Havertz, and I've got that opportunity. I know in my back pocket that if Havertz is looking a bit jaded, and I know that I've got Marino and Jesus in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Victor.
And for me, after that, I'm looking at Gyökeres because I just said earlier we play a different style. So the only reason then it has to be that I'm bringing on Gyökeres because we're playing to a style that gets the most out of him.
So you're
otherwise, why would I want to bring him on if I'm getting in that false 9, the way that we play, the way that the wingers play? It's not going to help us.
You're making Gyökeres your 4th choice.
Yeah.
Striker.
Because we have to change our style of play because he doesn't fit playing in the way. If you look at Marino, Havertz, and I would say that Kai Havertz is somewhere. Kai Havertz and Jesus are somewhere in between what you get out of Gyökeres and what you get out of Marino. They have both of it. They can do the coming deep bit, but they're also very good in the box. They can start a move to deep. They can start a move deep, and by the time that ball's got into the box for an attacking play, that player that started it, it's them that's getting on the end of it. They've managed to get themselves into the box to finish off a move that they started 2 moves ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. That's the way that we play with a centre forward. I don't see Gyökeres doing that. So unless we're going to change in the middle of the game to play a different way, then fine, bring him on. But why are you going to bring him on? I just went through the numbers and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Charles says, I feel if everyone's match fit in a knockout game or a kickoff game, it would be me picking Jesus starting, naturally cohesive for all of the attackers.
Good choice.
And wingers. And
not a bad choice.
It was a good first 6 months, as Gary said earlier in the podcast, when Gabriel Jesus came to Arsenal. And scoring goals against Leicester and other teams, but remember Leicester specifically.
I've seen Gabriel Jesus score some very good goals for us. He's got it.
Right up onto that World Cup.
He does have it in his locker. He just went through a period of time where he wasn't consistent. But you're not going to count him out. And I'm saying when everybody's fit, I'm not talking about having sore knees. I'm saying if everybody fit, no injuries. Gabriel Jesus has still got he's still got usage. I'm not writing him off at all. And as I say, that second goal against Wolves does not happen without the involvement of Gabriel Jesus. He may not have scored it, but the way that he played, as I say, he's a better footballer. The way that he played, the position that he got into, he forces that goal. You know? And then you see people online, bloody hell, he's coming back from 2 ACLs and he's playing better. He's played better in like X minutes than Gyökeres has in, you know what I mean? It's harsh, right? But that's what you get judged on. You ain't as good as your last sale. Remember we had that conversation?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about that Big Johnson deal. The Big Johnson deal that I done back in 85, man.
Big Johnson again.
85, mate. That was in 85. Big deal. But you can't keep going out on for free lunch on that deal that you done in 1985. It's 2025 now, and you ain't done shit. What I'm saying is, you ain't as good as your last goal. So, but we don't have everybody fit. Gabriel Jesus is coming back now into the fold. That's good. Got to be careful with him. But we do have a choice now. We've got a choice of 3. We've got Marino, Gyökeres, and Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Havertz is still not coming back yet, but Mikel Arteta now has to make a choice. Is he going to play Gyökeres now in the next league game, or is he going to bench him? Because there's so many ways of looking at the mental side. Is it Mikel Arteta's going, but if I bench him, then everyone's going to think that I've listened to the media and I'm being led. I'm not doing my own thing. You know what I mean? How do these people think?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know, right? We don't know about egos and that, but at the end of the day, you'd like to think that someone's making their decisions based on what's best for the team. That's what you'd like to think, and it's easy for us on a podcast to say that, but there's a big decision to make. Where he had to play Victor Gyökeres, he doesn't have to now. He's got another couple of choices that he can pick from. So it's going to be interesting to see who starts in the next game. Because you're only 2 points ahead now. It's not like we're 7 points ahead and we can experiment. Right. It's like, no, we need a sure thing.
Next game is important.
That last game, we need a sure thing. We need something that works. We need something that is going to work. And I don't think that's Victor Gyökeres. But by benching him, does that make him feel sad? But you know what? I'm not in the business of sad. I'm like, mate, if you ain't doing it, you got to get.
He's sat on the bench before.
I want to see you have the mentality to come off the bench and make it work.
It's not really benching. It's not really benching him. He's a substitute. He's going to be a named substitute, right? Ready to come on in when needed. Charles says
that if he gets benched, he's like, fuck, maybe I am as shit as everyone says. Maybe he is this, maybe he is that. Or is he the kind of guy that gets benched and goes, really? Okay, fair enough. Well, but you wait and see what happens when you bring me onto the pitch. I'm going to show you. Yeah. You don't. This is what we need to know, right? I hope it's the latter. I don't know this guy. I haven't spoken to him, but if he does get benched, he's going to be in one of those 2 places. And I hope that he's the sort of guy that goes for the second one. That he's like, he takes that as I'm going to fucking show you. And he does that by like coming onto the pitch and being even better. Because at the moment, I don't think he's justifying. If I've got all 3 of them available, what has he done that's going to make me pick him? There's no time for Sympathy Club. We're only 2 points ahead. Sympathy Club, then that time is gone. And I'd also go as far as to say that when he came and started playing for us, I think that he was actually lucky that Kai Havertz was injured. Because I would have the mindset, I'd be like, yeah, man, you know that guy that I had to fight for a place with? He's out of here. He's out. Now I'm going to come in straight away. And that guy, when he comes back from injury, he ain't getting a sniff. His day is gone. I don't even have to fight for the place because I'm good enough that I'm going to just keep this place. So he's had an opportunity. He's had the perfect thing. He's come to Arsenal. He gets paid a fucking very good salary. And he had the opportunity to start playing from day one. And he had the next match and the next match. He never had someone shit sitting on his shoulder that it was like, if I fuck this up, I'm out. And this guy's coming in. He had plenty of time to lay the groundwork. And I don't think he has. Right, Gary?
Hello.
That's it.
I don't know. Gary. I don't know how long you've been there, Gary.
I I heard a lot of what Stan had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Gary. I need to pop for a second,
Yeah.
but go on. Follow that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know where you stand.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I heard you. No, I mean, I don't think he's had the same chances that everybody does. I mean, um, I think he's he's been asked to do a lot more than he has done at any other, beforehand, and so he struggled in the first part. We saw that in the United game, right? We're like, all right, can he can even hold up the ball against? Well, I think he was like 1 for 10 on air duels or something like that. Anytime he got the ball, they just knocked him off him. But I believe eventually he caught up to the speed of the league and a little bit of the strength, and that's what we saw right before the end. But I think he played so much, right? I mean, he played pretty much every minute of most of the games up until he got injured. No break at all. Like he played 90 minutes pretty much 80-90% of the games, and that was every game. And that's including plus going to Europe and all of that. So I kind of felt like he never even got a chance to like settle. Like you said, if Kai Havertz was there, they would have gone back and forth. You would have I think you would realize why we got him. The reason why you know is because we'll try. Everybody says, look, you know what, Kai Havertz will do this, Marino will do that. Guess what? Those are the things we did. The things that Eucharist does are the things that these guys don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to what we just did. That's why we brought in something different. Well, we're
It's
not
not
going to
working.
find a better version of Kai Havertz because nobody does that. We're not going to find a better version of Moreno because nobody does that. We're looking for these unicorn type players and trying to get better. No, we need to get a different style of player who's better at their craft and fit and get them involved. I believe Gyökeres was doing a lot just to take on whatever Arteta was asking him to do, and then trying to catch up and get his feet ready so he could shoot. Because we heard this before, right? We heard Saka talk about, you know what? I have to do so much here than anybody else, and most teams in the same position as me. And you can see it. They work hard. We work hard defensively. By the time they get a chance to shoot, they're dead tired. Is what I feel sometimes, you know. And I think he actually finally caught up to that. But I think in doing that, he killed himself on the pitch. That's why he got injured. He never even got a chance to rotate him.
Can I
Like we said,
just say, Gary, though, but those many games, a lot of people say, oh, we never had a pre-season. Because he's played so many games, he's had a pre-season in the league. Like he's had time, a lot of games, a lot of minutes that, get into
game.
play.
That's it's totally different from getting preseason to regular season games. The intensity is a lot bigger in the games. It's not the same thing. Like when you come in preseason, you work it. You create a. Think about it. When you create a base, this is what we saw last year, right? With we saw this with Rice, right? He didn't get a preseason. It took him forever to get back into form, ready to go, because he hadn't got a preseason to work on. We saw that, remember?
Yeah.
Gyökeres didn't get that, and we're asking him to be better than what Rice was, and we know Rice is really good, and Rice struggled with it. The same thing happened to Salah last year. They didn't rush him back in. Right, he is a top player. They didn't have to rush him back in because they knew, this is the long haul. We're not going to get the same. I think you got to create the base. That's why you have that preseason there. It's not just you come in, you play 90 minutes and it works. You don't get that chance to take a break. So, like I said, I think we brought Gyökeres in for a particular reason, and it's for the things that Kai Havertz and Moreno don't do. And when we say we want to bring Kai Havertz and Moreno in, it's to do the things that they do well, which we know we don't like. That's why we struggled in the attack with them in a lot of situations, right? Like if you put the ball, if Gyökeres has the ball at his feet, I bet you he finishes it better than Kai Havertz. That's one of the things he can do. Have you ever seen the cross from Eze to Gyökeres? Have you seen Kai Havertz do that? I've never seen him.
The numbers don't say that, though, right?
He doesn't have
the numbers. Don't say that.
The numbers say that he doesn't get that many chances either. So you're looking at.
I have seen Kai Havertz score like that as well.
He spends more time to the right or the left of the penalty box than Havertz does. There's more time there. Instead of being in the centre, and when he does get the ball, he's losing it 42% of the time, whereas Havertz loses it.
I think a
24%.
lot of those are duels that you're
But-
looking at. They're not
but
like
last
the ball
season-
comes to his
last
feet. He's not
season-
losing it.
But last season, when he had the ball to do dribbles, he had the most dribbles that ended in goals than anyone in Europe, 9. And he had the most with the ball dribbles that ended in an assist, more than anyone, 5. More than Vinicius Jr., more than Mo Salah. So what I'm saying is that that's not working for him in this league. Because now in this league, in the previous league, he was able to pick up the ball, dribble with it, and get the most goals than anybody and the most assists in the Portuguese league. In this league, when he gets the ball, he loses it 42% of the time, which is the highest than anybody else.
As
don't
I
need
said,
to
I
be
bet you a
Einstein
lot of
to
those
get
are
this
balls.
team back.
He's not a good. He can't hold up the ball, and that's not his skill set. You're asking him to do once again. We're asking a player to do something they're not good at, and they're
No.
complaining when they don't do it right.
That's
That
what
you know,
that's
no.
how he
Kai Havertz
plays.
can hold up the ball, right? Kai Havertz can hold up the ball, but he can't finish
disagree.
like Gyökeres. That's why some people say, if Kai Havertz was healthy, you play both of them, you get the best of both worlds there. But you're asking Gyökeres to do something he can't do, and then complaining because he can't do it right.
No,
That's what
he's
you're
doing
doing
what
when
he
you say
usually
that.
Does. I'm saying that he's doing what he usually does.
No, he's
But
not
it
doing what he
work-
usually
but it-
does. You
but
just
it's not
said he
working in
doesn't.
this
He doesn't get to run on to the back line.
That's what he does. Every
People
time
aren't
he goes
passing
to
him the ball when he
pivot,
makes
as
his
I say, Every
runs.
time he
You
goes to
see-
the ball, he's more on the left or the right than he is in the middle. He likes to get the ball, play that to him, wide right pocket or left pocket, and then he likes to take about 3 touches with the ball, not one. He likes to take about 3 touches. He likes to touch the ball at least 3 times. And in that movement, he wants to use his physicality to brush away a defender. He does it all of the time. And it doesn't work in this league. And with Haaland, who's a big striker, what I'm saying with him, he doesn't go looking for that. He doesn't go looking for that attack, that contact with the defenders. What I'm saying to you is that he's trying to play the same game that he played that he was very good at. But for whatever reason, in this league, it's not working. And then you couple with that our wingers don't play low probability balls into strikers. That makes it even worse.
Yeah,
That's
and
the argument
I think we need to take those chances.
He's
We
just
don't
not
take
very
those.
good at doing what he
I hear what
does
you're saying.
in this league.
I think we need
He's
to
not doing
take those
anything different.
chances, right?
He's not doing anything different. He's not playing in some new way that he's been told not to. He's doing exactly what they saw and he was bought for. It's not working out in this league.
He is not playing the same way he played for
I
Sporting.
disagree.
So I think that's where we're not gonna agree on it. I don't think he's played the
Okay.
same way.
He
I don't.
he's not getting the same balls down his left side stand that he can run onto. Like,
But that's what he wants. And he plays those channels a lot. That's what I'm saying. And to get those balls, they're called low probability. He's not getting that. He goes for that. And then the point is that when he makes those runs and he does get the ball, what happens? 42% of the time he loses possession.
You were fixated on this 42%, and I bet you if you look at those 42%, it's those air duels that he's not going to win. You're not going to win.
Yeah, but
so
Gary,
you're stuck in this 42, and you don't even look at the player.
I'm trying to
you not see
explain,
when he makes his
the others
runs,
are
and they
on
don't even
20.
pass him
The others
ball.
are in the 20s, Gary.
There's different things that you can do.
But Kai Havertz is 24%.
The others
You know
are
what?
in the 20s.
Did you
Gabriel
like what Kai
Jesus-
Havertz was doing? Tell me this.
Gabriel
Did
Jesus
you like?
is 26, Marino's
okay,
28.
let's
It's very
take a
close
step back.
together.
Let's take a
Those
step.
3 numbers are so close together. 28, 26, 24. And then this other guy is 42.
You're looking at one
Come on,
stat,
man.
and I'm telling
All
You've
right,
got 3 other
are you
choices who lose the ball, and their numbers are very, very close.
Do you
Kai
like? Do you
Havertz
like
loses
Kai Havertz as your
50%
striker?
time left. It's just
Stan,
how it is.
Stan, do you like Kai
Yeah, but-
Havertz as your striker? Your starting
I'm
striker,
just
play
trying to
play every
say that
game.
The way that we play
Stan,
suits
no,
these numbers
forget
better.
about
That's
all
what I'm
those
saying.
stats. Forget about all those
But
stats.
Havertz,
Do you like?
Okay.
Answer the question. Do you
I don't
like?
see what the
You
argument
like Kai Havertz as your striker? Did you like him last year? Did you think
When
we
he
needed to make
started.
an improvement
with
on
his
him?
fit,
A
with his
change.
fit and the way that we play.
You liked
yes.
him last year, so
Not-
you
not
don't
in
think
the
we
first
needed.
5
You didn't
to
need to
10
bring in a striker. Then is that what
not
you're
in
trying
the
to
first
tell me?
5 to 10 games.
No.
We
I
didn't.
You
think
thought-
we
you thought
needed
we were-
backup.
you thought we were
needed
set at
more
striker.
numbers, but I'm not saying that we needed a different style of player.
Nobody plays that
Different
crap
style of-
style. That's what I think. I think nobody plays that
I
style.
thought we were
You
light.
don't find players that do
I
that
thought
stuff.
we were
It
light
doesn't work.
in the numbers because we No, I'm talking about. I thought we were light in numbers, but I'm not saying that we didn't need another striker. I'm just saying that we didn't maybe need that one.
Yeah, I
Well,
think we needed something
Because I said
different.
that at the
I believe that.
I said that if we're gonna bring in a striker, I wouldn't bring in Sesko or Gyökeres. Me personally, I would go
Right.
for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
maybe
wanted-
the style.
you know
wouldn't
what?
have
You can't
worked.
bring his name up to me
Maybe the
anymore. I
style
wanted
wouldn't
him
have worked.
in January,
At
and you know how many
least-
people told me, "Oh no, we don't want to spend all this
least
extra
he was
money on
elite.
him." Blah 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 blah. And now we're looking at him going, "We should have got him." No,
We all
we should-
wanted him.
We had.
Hindsight.
All
Nah,
three of
I
us
wanted
wanted
him in
him in
January when we needed a striker like him, right? And then we bring on Sesko, and everybody's going, "Oh, this makes more sense here," right? But we
All
didn't want to
three of
do
us.
it. You know
But-
what?
It's no different to people saying that they really wanted Gyökeres, and now in December they're looking at him and going, "Fuck, I don't think he's the one."
I think
Alright,
it will
but-
work. I think it will work out. I
It'll
just
work
think
out,
we have to
exactly.
realize what kind of play he is, and then
I
we'll be
agree
all
with
right.
Gary.
I would just say as well, I've seen much better players than him come to this league and
Because
fail.
you just
Guys
you
like
were
Romelu
compla- that
Falcao.
means we should get rid of Eze too, because you don't like the way he's playing with Arsenal either. Then because you're getting this the same thing that you look at when you look at Gyökeres is the same thing you look at when you see Eze, right?
The,
It's the same
right.
thing.
I
No,
said that
listen.
I don't understand it with Eze. I said that I don't have.
It's
I
the
said,
same.
no,
It is the same problem now. It's the
The-
same problem. You bring in a player with a certain skill
I
set,
said with Eze,
and
you're
then
not
they
playing the
don't
same
pan out, and you go,
position.
"Why
I
is
don't
that?"
understand it. I put in a guess that maybe it's that he's
The,
not allowed, but I don't understand why it's different. With
Stan-
Gyökeres, I
Stan-
didn't expect
Stan-
any more.
So I think Stan has come up with a very good point about the 42%. Gyökeres has not been able to be that player in the Premier League, but I don't think it's time to give up on Victor Gyökeres either. You know, we can't bid him off. He's not going anywhere. We're just talking about the
We can't.
effectiveness.
We invested.
Yeah, we're investors. We can't.
Yeah.
I think Gary and I agree that Victor Gyökeres eventually will come good, and I think some of the things that I was saying on the podcast earlier resonated with Gary in terms of Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard will start feeding him the kind of balls that he's going to thrive off of. And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, I think that our play has to evolve up front to cater for Gyökeres' style of where he wants the ball, where he wants to be,
I
face
think
to
we
face with a
Been like
goalkeeper.
that, that's what you should do. I mean, I don't think you bring a player like that and go, you know what? I want you to do something totally a little bit out of your wheelhouse, and if it doesn't work, then you're not work. You don't bring him in I think, like I said, he's a different type of striker. I don't think the strikers we have are that good. That's why we are looking for another one.
Yeah.
And that's why, and he's a different type of striker to what we're used to. But I also think he's a different kind of striker that I think we need.
And for me, he's never going to be that type of striker. When you're playing at Aston Villa and you're under pressure in the last 15 minutes, to try and ask him to hold on to the ball by the defense trying to have an out and trying to play long balls up to Victor Gyökeres was never going to be a very good recipe for success. The ball at Aston Villa kept coming back and kept getting recycled towards our defenders who were getting tired at the time. We did hold on. And also in the Premier League, the standard of defenders are so much better that you're never going to have the high success rate that he had when he was in Portugal. But
I just think that when you say I think that he's going to come good. I want him to come good. I want because it's an Arsenal move.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the money that we spend it comes good. But and you might not like this, but I'm of the opinion that within time he's going to end up like Rasmus Højlund or Anthony. He's going to.
The only way that's going to happen is if we don't.
Let me finish. I'm just going to say he's going to end up going on loan with an option to buy somewhere.
It's not going to happen. He's too good of a player for that. I believe he's too good of a player for that.
yeah,
That's what I think.
I mean, you're comparing him to somebody
That's
who
what I
did not
think.
score
I've seen
97
it happen
goals
to
in
better
2
players,
years.
like,
I mean, that's a big
happen to much
difference.
better
I mean,
players, man.
you're
I've
talking
seen
to a
it
guy who did hit a hat trick
Veron,
against City, in
Di
Champions
Maria,
League.
Romedal. I've seen much better players.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I like I said, I think he will come good,
Shevchenko.
and I think he will answer. He'll
Shevchenko. I've
he'll
seen it.
show-
What I'm saying is, it's not
Yeah.
impossible. There's been better
Yeah.
players.
There is.
Shevchenko. Look at Shevchenko. He came
You
to
might not
Chelsea.
like this. There are certain players.
It
I
happens.
saw.
It's about
There's
environment.
certain-
Well, look at hang on. Look at Willian. His first game for us, very good. His last game for us, very good. Everything in the middle, absolute shit.
Yeah,
What happens? He stays in the same country, in the same league, but he goes to Fulham, and I used to watch him on the highlights of Match of the Day, and he was looking much better.
You know what? But all you're doing
environment.
highlighting, all you're
environment,
doing is
style of
highlighting there
players.
is that the coaching and the style of football is different and
I'm
caters
just saying,
to
I
certain
think Gyökeres,
players,
okay.
right?
I
So that's what you're
also
saying
think-
with
I want him
that,
to do
with that
well.
comment,
He's not
right?
gonna make it.
So you don't bring in
That's
you don't bring in a Gyökeres and Eza and then go, you know what? I can't figure out a way to get you to work in my style because
I
my
also
style is
think-
He's not
so
going to make it at Arsenal.
restrictive and so and
Sorry,
and,
I don't
and,
think
and,
he's gonna make
and reduces the strengths of my players. It makes no sense. Why would you do
Uh,
that? You bring in an Eza. You're telling me we can't. We should get more out of him, right?
Yes.
The system probably doesn't allow him to do that. It's a stupid system if that's the case. It's a stupid
also
system if
think,
Eza
like-
can't replicate some of the things that he was doing for
Frozen.
Crystal Palace.
He
It's a
did.
stupid-
He has done
It's a
already.
stupid
this
system.
season.
Look, no, it's a stupid system that Norgard can play against us last year, but he can't play against Brentford this year. How in the world does that work? How does that? Tell me how
Let's
that
not
works.
forget. Let's not
How
forget.
can a guy who could play against
I
us
just think it's.
and you know it's the system. It's the
I'm just
way
saying.
we
I
play
don't
football.
want it. I don't want it, Gary. I don't want
Gary,
it. But it's very possible. I think it's very, very
Right?
possible.
Everything's possible,
All right.
but I'm not.
Well,
I can't. I'm not looking. I can't look at the
I
negative
think-
just yet.
I think that's where we're going with him. I just
Listen
think
to me.
that's where we're
Listen
going.
to me
You,
first.
you'll be wrong,
One
and then
second.
you'll come crying back to me. All right?
I'm not. It's not about crying because I'll be
no,
great.
you will
It's
come
happening.
crying back to me.
No.
I'm
He'll
gonna make
be
you
happy.
cry.
It's just my
He'll be
opinion.
happy. He'll be happy.
In 6 months' time, I can come back on him and go, you know what? I was wrong. He's improved. I'm talking about what
Yeah.
I've seen so far up to
We
now.
were.
That's
listen,
what I'm saying.
Stan, I
Doesn't
think
mean-
a lot
doesn't
of
mean
us.
that- What if he scores a hat trick on what if he gets? What if he starts against Everton and he scores 2 goals? I'll be like, well, that's good. And
We,
in the
we
next
were
game he
skeptical.
scores. Next game he starts and scores again. I'll be like,
Were
okay.
we not
well,
skeptical about
But if
Kai
that doesn't
Havertz?
happen,
Were we not skeptical
Sorry?
about Kai Havertz? And he changed our mind, right? The first 5-10
exactly.
games, Kai
That's a
Havertz,
good example.
it happened.
He
It can
was-
Now,
he
now you
wasn't-
love
he
the
wasn't-
guy. You got a guy's post
Yeah.
up in your house
My
right now.
opinion's changed.
So
Same
give
with Danny Welbeck.
Gyökeres
I
give
do with
Gyökeres
Danny
a
Welbeck.
chance. Give him a chance, Stan.
Give love a
with
chance.
Danny Welbeck.
Give
I'm just-
love a chance, Stan. You know what? You know what? Can I? You know what? I'll call him up. I'll tell him bring some Funyuns over to
You know-
Stan's house.
you know
Will
the
that
difference
will that
between
work?
me and you?
Blue
You know,
evidence.
there's a difference between me and you. I'm just saying like how I see it. But
Yeah.
what you're talking is you're talking from a place called hope. You're hoping.
No, you're
Because you
hoping
can't
as well,
tell me-
then. You're
I'm
hoping
worried
that he
about
fails.
What you've-
We're
what
both
you've seen
hoping
so
then.
far-
If I'm hoping, you're hoping.
what you've seen so far, is it good enough? Yes
You know
or
what?
no?
If
No,
what
is
I
it?
saw from
It's
Kai
not.
Havertz
And that's
can
what I'm
change,
talking about.
if
I'm
what I
not
saw
saying
from
you
Kai,
can't
you
improve.
love Kai Havertz now. You think that's actually
All right,
really
but
good
Gary,
football.
Gary, 1 second.
Correct.
Gary,
Because he earned it. He earned my love.
Gary,
You haven't even given this guy a chance. He's at the door with the speakers up, with the
No,
the
he's
radio
got-
up.
there's no
You don't want to
speakers.
listen to it.
There's
You
no
Gary.
don't want to
speakers.
listen to him.
Gary,
There's no
what's the
speakers.
biggest
I've got my
game of the
headphones on.
season
I
for
don't even know he's
Arsenal?
out there. I'm like, it's
You know
someone
what?
outside.
The biggest game for Arsenal is the next one.
I'm
I tell
calling
you
the
this
police.
every
I'm like,
time.
man outside.
I know
is
you
speaking.
do. I know you do.
Get this guy.
If all of
German as well.
Sorry.
The German guy outside of my house with big speakers. Can you come and take this guy away, please? That's what I am. Like what?
Gary,
Yes,
if
sir.
all of the Arsenal strikers are
Swedish
available to you,
Yeah.
if all of the Arsenal strikers are available to you for the next game, who are you picking?
I-
They're fit.
I
you picking?
I heard you, and I think I said that when I first came in. I'm bringing Gyökeres is my striker. That's why I brought him in.
Okay.
That's why I brought him in. I brought him in for the Everton type games. He might not do good in like the Villa games, and that's why you
Really?
have. That's why
Hang
you.
on.
That's why you
Everyone
have
is. If everyone's available, you would
Yeah.
start Gyökeres in the next game.
in the next one. Yeah, this
All
one
right,
coming.
that's
Really?
fair. There's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
Stan, because you
Yeah.
know what? Too
You know
much.
why? Because the
Fine.
same love that you would give Kai Havertz in that situation, that's what this is. You know what? If I assume Arteta didn't want him. That's why he's getting.
Can I ask
treated
you
this
why
way.
you would do that? Can you tell me why you would do it? The
'Cause
reason.
I think you know what. Here's what I think. If they actually looked at that tape, right from the Wolves game,
would be like that.
their attack I think would be upset, and I think
Yeah.
And I think my man Gyökeres will be like, Saka, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it had anything to do with pace why he was late to that ball.
No.
I think it had to do with like when Saka gets that ball, right? When Saka gets that ball,
Well, you think he's waiting for a cutback?
you make that run. What do you mean no comeback? He's going to continue to do what he does. He's to do it a little
No, I
bit
said,
faster. That's all.
You think no? I said a cutback. He's thinking Saka's going to cut it back.
I think
Yeah.
he is
What you're
because
saying,
Saka
okay.
does that a lot.
Saka
Saka will cut back and
across the
put it back
goal
onto
line,
his left foot,
he'll cut
right?
it.
He will do that as opposed to
Cutback, I mean.
take his man. If he takes,
He
he
does it
can
a
take his
couple of
man.
times a
He can
game.
take his man all the time. I think, and if he knows Gyökeres is going to be there, he'll continue to do that. And I think Gyökeres is like, well, you know what? He doesn't ever do it, so I don't know. So that's why he was late, right? He was late by
Like
about
I
a
said
foot.
earlier,
About a foot. He gets a toe on that. He probably scores, right?
Saka
I'm
needs
pretty
to
sure
know
they would have done that in
Gyökeres is
training.
there. Gyökeres
I'm
needs to
pretty
know
sure
the
that-
You know
ball
what?
is
I
in
hope
front.
so, but there's a lot of things I hope they do in training that I don't see on the pitch, right?
I hope Saka's not going. You know what? I hope Saka's not on the pitch and going. You know what?
I will say
I know
one
that we
thing
haven't
though.
practiced. I know we haven't practiced any of this, and
I
know
will
that
say one thing.
Hold on. And he's saying, I know Gyökeres is expecting me to cut it back, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fizz it across. No, they try. If you're saying he doesn't usually do that, that's because they've now been training to do that, which means that somebody wasn't playing their part. Somebody was missing. Somebody was like someone didn't get their lines out.
And you know what? That's when
And
somebody.
that was
That's when Saka should be
Otherwise-
screaming. If Saka does, this is the leadership part that's lacking from
Saka
Saka.
said, you know what? I'm going to fizz the ball across.
No. He puts the ball in there. Nobody's there.
No.
Guess what Saka's doing? What should Saka be doing after that cross goes
He's
through?
like,
Yelling at him.
Saka should be looking at Gyökeres and going, "Did you forget what we did?"
Did
in
he
training?
do that? I bet you he didn't do that because you know what? That's a different kind of
Maybe
skill
Declan
set he
Rice
doesn't
did.
have, right?
Personality,
Maybe you know what? If
Rice
Declan Rice does it, I bet you he won't be late next time. Somebody has to make that call. 'Cause
Yeah.
he definitely. I mean, like I said, I've been
I
calling for
guarantee
that.
you,
I've been
Gabriel
calling.
Magalhaes
I've been
on
calling
the
for that near post run all season because I'm like, you know what? Saka will get the ball to you. Just make the run, and if he doesn't, you should scream at him and say,
So we
"Give me that
agree.
ball." Yeah, no, I think he was just late on that one. I don't think it had anything to do with pace or anything like that. I think he was just hesitant, and he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that, Eze has shown up this season as well. Remember the Bayern game? The play with Martinelli?
No,
The
he did
man-
that in the City game, right? He's got it in. He's a moments player. We need a goal in the City game. He puts the pass into Martinelli, right? I mean, he's got that in his locker. Like he should never come off the pitch if we're struggling to get a goal.
Yeah. Because he's
I
always
will say one
giving
thing. I will say
something.
one thing. You're not expecting Martin Odegaard. If Martin Odegaard started in the North London derby, you wouldn't be putting money down at the betting office that he'd score a hat trick, right?
No.
Do you know what I mean? You got to put
That's
that
right.
in. You know what I mean? The guy scored a hat trick in the North London. I didn't,
Yeah.
and if Martin Odegaard was fit and ready to go, he probably would have started that game. And there's no way Martin Odegaard scored a hat trick. I just don't see it.
And that's why I feel like
Not
I don't
right
care.
now.
I don't care about Kai. I don't care about Odegaard, but Eze has to start. Find a spot for him. I would rather play him at 10, but he has to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think you have a player like that with the talent that he has. Put him on. He has
You
to be on the
take him
pitch.
out.
He has
You
to be on the
take him out.
pitch. I don't care.
Someone's got to come out though, right?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing.
Odegaard.
Do we actually have
Odegaard.
to play both Zubimendi and Rice in every game?
Correct. No, we don't. You're right.
I know that's a good. We said that earlier, Gary. That's gonna. If one of those goes down now,
Yeah.
and I think it's possible. We said this earlier about how we had such a big squad, and now we're down to the bare bones. If something
Yeah,
happens to
you're saying-
Zubimendi or Rice, that could kill us.
And you have to manage manage
Yes.
them. And they cannot they
you-
don't have to play 90 minutes every game, both of
Nope.
them.
Correct.
Like somebody should be coming out. Like I'm sorry, if Norgard has to play. Why here you go. How could Norgard play center back, but he can't play his natural position?
Correct.
How in the world does that doesn't make any
He's
sense,
a
right?
defender now. He's a defender now.
I mean, Arteta
Well,
can make anybody a
aren't-
defender. I
But
get it.
aren't
I
you
get it.
happy?
But can
Gary?
you make somebody whose primary position? Can you make them play that too?
You could have put Rice in there.
Think about it. You got Miles Lewis Skelly, natural midfielder, right? That's
Yeah.
what he played all academy days.
Yeah.
You can't get him in the midfield for anything, right? Even when we have injuries, when we need rest, you can't get him there. Are you telling me when he inverts, he can't do the same thing, but just stay there and not have to rotate back out wide, right? You telling me he can't do that?
Exactly. Good point. Exactly.
You're talking about Nørgaard playing in the back four. It could have been Declan Rice in the back four.
No, you know what? That would make even more sense than Nørgaard, right? Because you're like, all right. No, it would in the sense that, guess what? I'll rather put my better player on the back line than a player I'm not as 100% sure about.
You said that, Gary, but now for one problem, you've now created two because now you've lost.
No. But I'm saying if you
doing his job.
No, but
sliding tiles.
No, but you know what? You play somebody in their natural position, they'll play a lot better, right? If you play them out of position, then they look bad, right? Kai Havertz is not a midfielder. We played in midfield. He looked terrible, right? You move him closer to the goal, he looks better.
You make some kind of sense there, yes.
No, I don't even make some. I'm making. This is basically how this is what it is, man.
But here's the thing, though, right? Kai Havertz hasn't always played as a striker, though, has he?
No, he's not a striker. That's why we needed a Gyökeres. But he can't play behind a striker, right?
Even before Chelsea.
Hey, what is it? Hey, Stan, what do you want?
To see the two
Stan, what do you want? What do you really want to see up top? Stan, what do you want to see up top? What do you want to see up top?
Right? I think sometimes.
Stan, what do you want to see up top? Don't ignore me.
I'm just saying. I'm
answering my question.
I'm answering it. I'm just saying. Sometimes we get too stuck about this player can only play in this position. He's a professional footballer, but he can't play in that position. If he plays in that position, he's going to be absolutely shit. Yeah. And I think that someone like Kai Havertz, which is a conundrum to me, a player that I like, it baffles me how when we bought him to play in a more of a midfield role, and you look at his past, even before Chelsea, he's played in what positions has he been successful in? On the right-hand side of the midfield, well, okay, but he's been successful there. As a second striker, and then even in that sort of position, as you would think as an attacking midfielder, you know, if you're talking about an Odegaard role, someone that's going to do maybe a Kevin De Bruyne, that's Kevin De Bruyne role, you know, be up there, goals, assists, free, you know, no. He didn't work for us for some reason, but for some reason he works as a false nine, which he does play for his country, but I just think sometimes it's about environments and where you are, you know, and someone like Eze, I don't think his game should be that much impacted if he's playing as a left eight or a right eight. He should still, he's not wedded to that spot. He can still find himself in behind a striker. He can still find himself making runs into the box. Do you know what I'm getting at? We all see the picture when there's a team lineup. It doesn't mean that that's where you stay. Look at Calafiori ends up, as we said earlier. So that's why I get a little bit about like being wedded to a spot. And I think sometimes with Gyökeres, he's quite wedded to his spot, whereas a Havertz, as I say, you can see him helping out in the midfield if there's an overflow. He starts to move off, and then while other stuff is happening and the ball's moving up, he gets himself into the penalty area and can get on the end of it. That's the way that we play. It seems to work, but I don't see if we're going to play like that with Gyökeres, it's not going to work because he doesn't do that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying either or we have to rip everything up and we have to play to a style that fits Victor Gyökeres.
So I think we're in a phase. We're in a phase of where we're discovering the players are discovering what Victor Gyökeres needs, what kind of balls he needs in order to be able to flourish as number 9 for Arsenal.
The bad fit, I think. I think if he's going to be our number 9, we have to play to a different way to accommodate him. If we're not going to do that, and we're going to stay. That means we need.
I think we're in the process.
We need Jesus because they play that way, which then demotes Gyökeres to being this bit part player.
But Stan, I think we're in
that style.
I think we're in the process of discovering that style for Gyökeres.
Well, that's what remains to be seen.
Yes.
Because if you keep on trying that and it doesn't work, what are you going to incline to do? At some point, you're going to go, you know what, this isn't working.
At some point, you will say this isn't. You will have to say this isn't working. Yeah.
And that's where I think we're going to end up. Rather than those that are hoping and go, you know what, it's going to turn it around and it's going to work. I hope
right now, his output is enough.
Let me put it this way, right, Gary? You've got $100, right, out of your own pocket, and you're at a table, you've got to place a bet, and you can either put $100 on Victor Gyökeres is going to really make it, and he's going to give us like 20 plus goals a season, and it's all going to work out. Or you've got to put your $100 on. I don't think he's going to make it, and at some point he's going to be loaned out with an option to buy. Where would you put your $100?
He's not going to get optioned out.
You should have kept the first part of the second option.
No, he's not going to go out on loan. I'm sorry.
I'm asking everyone.
No, because if he goes out on loan, that means you got the wrong manager who can't get the best out of his players.
That's what
Arteta figured out a way. Arteta figured out a way to win an FA Cup. Did you see our back line then? Did you see our back line when we won the FA Cup? Right. He found a way to win an FA Cup.
David Luiz.
I think he can find a way. No, it wasn't David Luiz. He wasn't. He was after that, right?
It was
the season after that when Luiz
was in the cup final team.
Was he?
Yep.
If we win anything,
no, I don't think he was. I
thought
he came in the next. I think he came in the season after we won. Huh?
It will be in spite of it. It's not going to be because if we win anything, it won't be because of Victor Gyökeres. It's going to be in spite of him.
You know what?
Because of him.
That was going to be that. The only way we were going to win one is if we can maintain our health, right? And Saka and Rice and Martinelli. Sorry, not Martinelli. Gabriel and Saliba will maintain their health, right? That's how we were going to win, and we needed some accompaniments to go with that, some compliments to go with that with the players. We needed something different. We needed something better. Eze gives us something different and better. I think Gyökeres gives us something different. We haven't seen the better yet because I don't think we've seen enough of it, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have the depth. I think certain things I think certain things Arteta has done at the start of games has killed us. So I think some of the way we play, like these games early in the season, the way we played Liverpool and City early in the season, we didn't want to take any risks when they weren't playing so well. Right, and I think those are points we could. There's like 4 points there we possibly could have got, right? Because those teams did not play well after that. We give some teams too much credit. We don't actually look at their body of work coming into the game, right? Go into the Villa game and you play it like it's an old Villa team that's not that good, and we don't look right. Yeah, going into that game, you have to know that you have to look at what's going on, Arteta. Going into that Villa picture, they've lost one game at home in about a year. It's not because they suck. It's not because they get lucky. They actually play well there, right? They're on a really good run, a string of form, right? I don't think they've lost in 8 games as it speaks right now,
well,
right?
Yes.
So going into that game, you have to come in prepared for a certain type of football. We were not. We basically gave them. We came in there with a game plan that just really killed us, right? We looked out of place. We were scrambling the entire game, and I think that's the way that Arteta set us up, right?
Yeah.
Some people say it's the players. I think that one was on Arteta, the way we set up for that game, right? Coming to the Wolves game, I don't know. The whole entire team looked like they were done. The Sunderland game, I think we were looking to, how you're looking for the door, right? International breaks coming. We were already looking at that door, the way we came into that game, right? That was the worst defensive game I've seen in a while. Defensively, we looked pretty poor there. The way they scored goals.
Gary, that's what we're known for. If you look at Arsenal, and you was to say so, would you say that Arsenal are a really good attacking team, a really solid midfield team, or are they like a defense-first team? That's where we're known for now. Right? Our stamp is defense. That's our edge. That's our superpower. But now that we're not able to field the one that our superpower is fucked now.
Yeah, you know what? But we can't do anything about that now. That's where your strength. That's where your strength is, though. So you have to still lean on it as much as you can. I think Hincapie will come through. I mean, I think I think if we were healthy and he got minutes eventually, but I think the one thing that them playing earlier in the season, hopefully it will come to pass at the end. They've already got that experience now. They played in a Villa game on the road in that kind of situation.
But it's getting makeshift, isn't it?
No, but I mean, the intent is that in a
If
month
you're having
from
to
now,
put more
right?
guards in
Think
our
about it.
defense,
In
then
a
that's not
month,
gonna be fun.
yeah, in a month from now, we won't. Hopefully, we'll have Gabrielle back, and Saliba and friends will be together again, right? And then when we
How many
rotate, we
points
just
will we?
rotate one of them out.
How many points could we be behind by then? Christmas period, man. The
You,
games are going to come thick and
what
fast.
games do you look at and you go, we can lose those games?
Well, I did look at the Wolves game and thought that we'd be under the pressure. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And the only reason I'm saying it is because I think that our main attribute is defence at the moment. That's what we're really known for, and we've lost that now. The one thing that was that we're known for, it's broken. So that leaves us very, very vulnerable. Whereas before, people knew, oh, fuck, we've got to go against Arsenal. It's so difficult to score against Arsenal. Now there's a way because our defense.
But you know what? You look at those games. It's not like
Worries
teams are
me.
like pinging that. Not too many teams is pinging balls at our goal, right? Right. The problem we're having now is that when they do get one or two shots on target, they're scoring, right? And some of that, if you look at it, some of that has to do with like the header in the Wolves game. Hinkapia is late, right? He
Yeah,
plays the
exactly.
he plays the guy, but that's because he hasn't played in this system for a while. He's just got here, man.
Because as well as being good defenders,
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
part of the
But there's
superpower,
but
these defenders are good at set pieces. And we've lost
no,
that as well.
that wasn't a set piece they scored on. No,
But
the
what I'm
Wolves,
saying is that we had that.
yeah, but for on the attacking side, we're missing Martin Gabriel. But what I'm saying is, some of those things that they saw, things that you know what, you're not going to see that from Gabriel Saliba, right? And when you don't have either of them on the pitch, you lose something there,
Oh
right?
yeah, of course.
Right. So that's where
Just
those
the fear
goals.
factor.
A lot of those goals came from that. But I think that gives you experience, right?
There's a
You
fear,
know,
there's a fear
we've only
factor
lost
as well,
one
right?
game.
You
We've
see
only
names,
lost.
names.
We've only lost one game since we've like had to go with a makeshift back line. We've played the last 4 or 5 games. I think we've played a different back line. No team can do that. When we played Chelsea, that back line that Chelsea was playing with, that was the second time they had that was their that was their second game in a row that they were playing the same back line. You know what I mean? And it does mean something. As crappy as they may be, it does mean something when you can consistently play the same back line because then you figure out how to play with each other. Right. But when you're switching like we've had to do in the last 4 games, you can't get any continuity that way. Front line, it has to be the same front line, whoever that is. If Trossard didn't get injured, Trossard would have been starting, right? You would have Trossard, Gyökeres, and Saka, and we know that works for us, right? Eze and Erdogan will have to fight for a position if Rice and Zubimendi have to play, right? But I feel you've got 4 midfielders there. You can pick any 3 of them, and I think we'll be all right, depending on the game state, right? Depending on the game that we come into, right? We should be able to do that. If we can't, then you're just going to kill your players, and we see how that works, right? So that's kind of how I feel. He's gonna. I call for rotation, and people are like, no, you don't want to rotate because that kills the flow. But then when we look at our players going off the pitch because they don't get any minutes off. They don't get rotated. Like pick one of the two, Arteta. Either they come off at 60 minutes, right? Or they don't start. Take your pick, whichever one it is. But you can't do none. You can't just say you play 90 every game until you hit the red and I have to put and then you get an injury. It makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Nobody does that. And the way we've been playing, that's what we've been doing. These guys play 90 minutes all the time. Rice has to play 90 minutes. Zubimendi has to play 90 minutes. Saka has to play 90 minutes. No. We've got a squad now. You use the squad, right? You're up 3-1 on Bayern Munich. Rice comes off. If you can't do that, then you don't have a squad. And you know what? Defensively, if you don't have it, then that's on you, Arteta, because he makes any defender we have look better than they usually are, right? Everybody's like, oh, this is not going to work, but eventually he gets something out of him, right? Kiwior came in and had a really good time last season, right? Nobody expected that, but that was on Arteta, right? He's got players now that are supposed to be better than Kiwior, right? So I don't think that should be as big of a problem come the end of the season. But they need minutes. They need minutes. We need minutes. And you know what? I'm Nwaeri's lawyer. My man needs minutes. Get him on the pitch. You need a goal late. Get him on the pitch with Eze, and let's see how that plays out. Right? He needs to play his minutes. Noni needs minutes. Saka doesn't have to play 90. Noni comes in running off a back line. See what happens there. Right? All right. We already know. So I think we have the squad. We just need to trust it a little bit more and use them. All right. That's what I think. We just need to use them. We're not doing that. I think Arteta once again is not fully confident and trusting of some of his players,
It's funny.
and I think it's killing his other players.
It's funny you mentioned Ranieri because he's been one player that last season, which you could maybe say was his breakout season. From what I saw of him, he didn't look out of place. You know, he looked like that. He was the sort of person that is capable of actually making a difference. So I'm quite surprised to see how much of a backseat he's being given this season. I thought if that was his breakout season, I thought that he was, earning to get more minutes. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand.
And you know what?
I don't understand that.
It's like last season, Arteta didn't learn anything from it. When Erdegaard went out injured and he didn't want to use Nweri, except for as a left wing when Saka was injured, that doesn't make any sense. He's more of a 10, right? Like what you play players out of position, they do that because that's the only time they get on the pitch, and then you don't reward them with to play as much in the position that that's what they're known for, right? It makes no sense.
Very good, didn't he? In fact, playing on the right wasn't his natural position. He was very good at it.
Is that yeah?
Yeah, surely that would be, like you're blooding. You've been blooded.
How do you trust Norgard on the back line but not in the midfield?
I know. But again, that's because it was needs must. There was no one else.
I know, and that's the problem.
He had to take Norgard because he had to.
And it should never be that. It should never be that. It should be, I trust you, and then you know what? But I'm going to have to play in the back line. But you have been playing for Rice. You have been playing for Zubimendi. You have been closing out games for us. All that kind of stuff, right? That's why you brought Norgard in. You brought it. Is it like a?
Because if you're the player, you would be like, so now you want me. Now you want me when you need me to play out.
And then I'm supposed to.
Now you want me to play.
And now I have to perform, right? Or else if I don't perform, then you sit me.
At my age.
Sit me, right? No, I see. No, me and you don't agree on much, but we agree on that.
Yeah. Because it's like, at my age, now you want me to, okay. What about all that time when Zubimendi was breathing out of his ass? I couldn't come on then? Oh, no.
That Sunderland game, think about it. No, here you go. I go back to that Sunderland game. The front three, all gassed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we defend from? The front.
Yeah.
We defend from the front. That's why Arteta loves Martinelli, right? Right? Yep. We defend from the front. Right? We put pressure on them. They don't get it. Doesn't get easy. They don't get easy chances because it starts up top. We don't defend from the midfield. We defend all the way up. That's why when Erdegaard's healthy, I don't think he's healthy because he's not pressing. We press up top. We put pressure on them. They don't get easy balls through the midfield and on the back line. Charles wants us to what? Preview the Everton.
Preview Everton for us all. Under Arsene, Everton was happy hunting. Under Arteta, seems to have gotten tough. Man City possibly top by kickoff. Can this team handle nil scoreline till late? We have to. I mean, we have to be prepared to take on these tough away assignments at Everton Stadium away from home, knowing that Man City may have won their game against West Ham at home.
Yeah, I mean, Arteta has to understand that everybody's gonna load their box with all their defenders. The only way you can do that is if you move a little bit faster. You know what I mean? You have to move a little bit faster. The ball has to swing around faster. You have to make runs and make the defense think about what you're doing. Yeah. On the front line, you see it. They're just standing there a lot of times, and then when they do run, we're not looking for it. But then you know what? They should be a constant flow of people running at that back line to see, to probing. Right? We don't do that enough, I think.
We beat Everton. We beat Everton up there a few years ago by moving the ball, and I think it was a Leandro Trossard goal 2 seasons ago. Last season we struggled against Everton, I think, away from home. We had an offside. We had a goal there, marginally offside, written off last season. So it's very possible we can go there and win. It's one of those situations, Gary, where take out the Crystal Palace game, which is the cup game next Tuesday. We got Everton away, and then we play Brighton and Aston Villa at home.
Mhm.
You know, these are three games you could go anyway, which way. But they're going to be finally balanced games. But you would anticipate that would
I'm
come
looking at this. Yes, the games have been tight, but
out 7 points.
you know what? We don't. We've lost to them once in the last 4
Everton?
years.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that loss was terrible because I could tell that
yes,
was going to happen. But otherwise, we don't necessarily lose to them. We have beaten them at their place.
yeah.
Um, not in the last time we played them, but you know what? We as much as it's a struggle when you look at it, we lost to them, like I said, once in the last like 7 games, right? We've drawn the last two, but in reality, you know what? We usually win most of the games, so I kind of feel like I know is that a friendly? It looks like a friendly, but either way, I think if we play our football, we'll be fine. That's the
Yeah.
problem we have. I don't think, and I say this all the time, it's performance over results any day. Everybody looked at that Wolves game and said, "I'm taking the 3 points. The performance was bad." I'm like, that's the same thing I've been saying all along. Like, you know, yeah,
Alonso's like, "Wow, you guys still on?" Well, we're winding it up a little bit now.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I didn't think you're gonna be on this long. I just wanted to come on and have it out with Stan.
well, to be
A
fair,
good
I,
chat,
I,
good conversation.
I left the gate wide open for you to do that because
Yeah,
I was definitely waning tonight. But thank you
yeah.
everybody
Mm,
for hanging in there with me, Stan and Gary, uh, talking it out about Victor
yeah.
Gyökeres. We all want him to start firing on full cylinders, but we'll remain to see what happens with
Would
him.
would Kai Havertz out? I really 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 would like to see if Martinelli would get a chance. You know,
Right. I think there's a bigger chance of Gabriel Jesus coming forward for a bit of a cameo
yeah.
in the next couple of
But
weeks.
he's not going to start. So like for me, if we needed a different type of starter, I really don't like Moreno up top. I know some people like it, but I don't. So,
Charles really wants us to keep going, but I think we're going to wind it down, Charles. There'll be plenty of opportunity to preview a
yeah.
January window. Remember last January what happened, and we were left
They
with
want that
spoilers.
Zildjic player, right? And I think he's a left winger. So if they get that player, then all right.
Do you know what Mikel Marino reminds me of? Like we have like a really big jigsaw puzzle,
Uh,
and you complete it, but there's one square that's missing, and you've got the whole picture, but there's that one hole,
that
and you
actually happened.
look under the sofa, you look under the
Yep.
table, you look in the box, you can't find it, and then you get another jigsaw puzzle. You take out a piece, and you hammer it in, you force it in, and then when you stand back a bit, you actually look at it and you go, "It's blue
I
because
like
it was a piece of the sky,
You know what?
right?
It's even
Blue.
worse. It's
I
even
like
worse
that
than that.
analogy, Stan.
It's even worse than that. The piece actually works. You put
That's what
it
I'm
in there.
saying.
No,
They're
no, no,
saying
no,
it
no,
works.
no, no, no. The piece, it's
Scores
completely.
goals. It scores
It's 100
goals.
It's
piece.
blue. The sky was
No,
blue. This is a blue
no,
piece. It
no, it's
works.
100. It's a 100 piece puzzle set. You get all 100 pieces, but there's one piece left. You put it in. It's backwards. It's the
Yeah.
cardboard face. It's not the picture. It fits, but if you don't see the picture, so you got this gray thing sitting there. You're like, what in the world is that? That's not. But he might fit in there, but it doesn't look right. You know.
All right. Well, listen, we'll have
Here-
plenty of time for January window.
I never
And,
said about Everton.
Oh, go ahead.
I never had my say
You get
about
2 minutes.
about Everton. And
Get 2
basically,
minutes.
I think that the loss against Wolves has really damaged us. And what I mean by that is
Aston Villa.
reputational wise, we had just got ourselves into a place where an opposition team would look at their fixtures. They'd say, for example, right, we've got Arsenal next, But the game after that is against a team that we're fighting for relegation. Or the team after Arsenal is a team where we're, fighting them for the Europa Conference position. Or the team after Arsenal is a game that we've got in the Europa Cup, Europa League. So what I mean by that is like Brentford, they'd start resting players against Arsenal because they're like, well, we're not going to get anything out of that. But that next game after Arsenal, I want to have my. We were just getting into that place where teams were looking at Arsenal and thinking, well, we ain't getting any shit out of that. So you might as well rest for that because the next game is against a team that we're fighting for relegation. But I think that what's happened with that Wolves game, that's harmed that reputation. Now people are thinking, okay, if we follow this blueprint and I think I've got better players, I might get something out of this. So the landscape has changed. So we're going to go away to Everton, and I think that David Moyes is a good manager. They're not going to take it easy. They're going into this thinking that they can get something out of it. They're going to give us a game. Whether it's our style of game or not, they believe that they can get something out of it, whether it's a draw or a win.
Yeah, they're missing a lot of players, so
Grealish is out.
I don't know about that, okay? But they're going for it.
No, they might be going for it, but they're going for it with lesser players, like you said. Like they're not even going with their top players.
We've heard this with Arsenal. It doesn't seem to matter.
No, it doesn't matter. But you know what? The thing is, can they do it for 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Can they? The guys that they usually be bringing in are going to be starting now.
Teams were willing to, look at the fixture table.
So
we were just getting to that point.
We could make history. We could make history on this podcast. We could finish the show without having one of the guests ever speak.
You can't do that. You can't do that. That's not even.
Is Alonso frozen? Is that
Say
the
something
most ironic
quick.
part?
Say something quick. Don't put food in your mouth.
You're Tony.
Don't put food in your mouth.
Alonso, you're Tony in this situation. Come on.
So what are you guys talking about today?
Big shoes to fill.
We're talking about the book that Stan was reading and whether Funyuns are the best,
we're talking about
best
Funyuns.
crisps.
Yeah, what kind of crisps Stan was eating?
I'd like to ask Alonso a question as he's just joined, because we asked everyone else. Alonso, you're the Arsenal manager, right? And you've got to pick the striker for the Everton game.
Where's
and
Tony?
you've got Gyökeres is fit, you've got Jesus is fit, Marino is fit, and Havertz is fit. Who are you picking to start in that position?
Oh, Jesus Christ! To be honest with you, I go with Marino because to me, for some reason, it works. He could be a playmaker, right? He could be a box. He could be a fox and a trot kind of striker where he could do everything. He could score goals. He could assist. His movement without the ball is something underrated about his being a striker. I think he brings people around him, makes them kind of connect. I like him being up front, actually, Stan. I think he does a lot of good things that Gyökeres doesn't do. I think that, I think his IQ is a bit better than Havertz's. I don't know. I like him up front. I think that he brought a lot to the team last year when Havertz was out. I think he's really tall for a midfielder. He's someone like Kai Havertz is. But yeah, he's just smart with it, man. I think that right now with Gyökeres being like kind of unstable right now at the moment, I give it a nod to Marino.
Let me ask you another question. Have you heard much of this show before, first of all, before I ask you this question, or not? Have you been listening to the whole show or not?
Oh, no. I've been at work. Sorry, I've been at work.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this other question then, right? You said that if all of those strikers are fit, that you would go with Marino and the reasons why. Now, looking at all of those four strikers, or people, when I say strikers, that play in that position in the middle of the top three, looking at the way that we play, where does Gyökeres for you fit in the pecking order? If he's not going to start, that means he's not number one. It's Marino. Where is he? Is he second, third? Where do you place him?
Oh,
Everyone's fit. Everyone's ready to go. You know the way that Arsenal plays, what you've seen. Gary's like he's doing a David Copperfield. He's trying to give him the card.
I just hate
Pick
this.
a card, any card. Pick that one.
I don't.
I'm not doing that, Gary. I'm not doing that.
You did it.
I
You
did
gave
it.
him like 52 card deck.
did
Only
it.
one of them has
did
Gyökeres in it.
What's
Only
in the
one of
bar?
the 52, man.
I didn't do that.
if they're all fit, Stan, I would say
Alonso, your answer?
I would say Havertz second and Chris
you
third.
would. Yeah.
Because I don't think Chris quite grasps our Arteta's system. I think it's taking a bit longer than expected. Hopefully he'll figure it out. But I would put Moreno first, Havertz second, and Chris third. That's just
Where's Jesus?
right now how I
Jesus is
feel.
behind.
Yeah. Jesus.
So you're happy with that card? Just want to check. You
Can't have
pick
to be,
one.
man.
Oh, you did. You handed him one card and it said, "Choose." That's what you did.
I didn't
You
do
just
that.
gave him one card. You didn't
didn't
give
do
him two or three. You gave him one and said, "See if you like this one."
He made his own decision.
Oh man.
All right, that's what I'll go for, Stan.
Okay.
You guys don't have
All right.
any faith in your players.
Yeah, listen, the moment is now for Arsenal. You know, some Arsenal fans, like we said earlier, fear this city that's growing and growing. You have to embrace. I feel you have to embrace this. Arsenal players have to embrace this. Arteta's got to embrace this. We're in a fight at the top of the league, and yeah, we didn't have it easy like Liverpool had last season. So far, it's not been easy, but it's up to these Arsenal players. It's up to Declan Rice to show the leadership, to be irritated when we win 2-1 and it looks horrible. Be irritated and show that to the players, and as I think Gary said, they will be. You'll see the reaction to it. I think this weekend on Saturday at Everton.
You need to. I mean, I think if Rice has anything to say about it, this team will come out totally different than they have in the previous game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Rice, as some people have said, is our captain, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way if he doesn't play
Right.
well, we don't play well, and if he's playing the best he can, and everybody else is out there not doing their job, he will let them know. So there you go.
All right, we'll leave it there. It's plenty late here, plenty late where everyone else is watching, probably as well. Alonso, thanks for dropping in right at the last moment.
Yeah, good to see you, Stan.
A
Gary and
typical
Ray.
Mikel Arteta substitution in the 92nd minute.
Hey, man, it is what it is, man.
Doesn't even have to wash his kit. Fold it up and put the next one.
No personal going on that thing at all. It's good for the next show. Gary, thanks for getting off the bus and getting on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, appreciate it. Stan, good seeing you.
Yeah,
Alonso,
good to see you.
good seeing you. Ray, I guess you're back. You're doing shows at least
Yeah.
once a week. I don't know if it's
At
two
least
times.
once.
Bi-weekly show.
Yeah.
Yes, at least once a week. And waning tonight. I was not concentrating on what Stan was saying.
He was talking nonsense.
I was dozing, but it wasn't because it wasn't
One because I didn't like it.
Giving out cards from the deck.
Are you saying Stan has assumed the mantle of Tony? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say no. There's only one. There's only one king, man. Come on, stop that.
That was my best Tony impression.
You need to work on it a little bit more. You got some things to play, to work on, but that's all right.
All right,
You'll get
so
there. You'll get there.
We have an Arsenal game on Saturday, so let's watch it. Let's enjoy it.
And the
Midday
Eagles on.
stand a little bit later for the rest of us. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, we're gonna end it there. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. Until we